Hello, welcome back. It's a show. Gonky is pouring his purple drink.
Hello, Mover. How are you?
Hello, Wombat with WOMBAT, all caps, no spaces, no periods.
That's how it's been.
I'm glad our feud is over again.
When do we feud? What? It's not a feud.
Not on the show. Every time you're not on the show, the rumor is
they're fighting.
So I just want to get that out the way now.
Well, let me tell you what you pissed me off with, so we can just get
crap.
it out. No,
no.
There's no feud.
I'm not the one who lowercased you.
Who did?
Gonky.
No, it wouldn't be Wombat if it wasn't all uppercase, man. I mean,
I agree.
It's Wombat. I mean,
why do people think we argue all the time?
I don't think we argue. They think we're feuding. That's different.
Yes.
Isn't feuding just a fancy word for argue?
I think
no,
it's
feuding is like
arguing,
we're
right?
mad at each other for reasons.
It's like chronic arguing.
Could you do me a favor? I've been super busy, Mover. Offline. Let's just move the chat over here real quick. Are we feuding? Just so I know. I can't remember.
Well, I don't know what we're feuding about.
Okay. Did I say something about
those are the worst kind of
Corvettes?
feuds?
Or
That's right.
We're going to talk about Corvettes, though. Corvettes are on the menu today, even though Gonky did not put it in the tab. I
think that's really appropriate for an aviation show. So that's a good segue.
We're not an aviation show. It doesn't say that anywhere in the title.
There's planes.
Like, let's start feuding now. So there's
it doesn't say it anywhere in the title.
There you guys go, feuding again.
Yeah, this is
Mover and Gonky. Look, we even have an E2 Hawkeye in our
going for the rage clicks.
Do we?
Yeah. See, it's right here. Hawkeye going wild.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Hide the children.
Video. I mean, let's be honest. We're always wild, right?
Speaking of that, is there going to be an E2 in DCS?
I have no idea. What's DCS?
Ooh. You know what I did today? I did Falcon BMS.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what's BMS?
It's another game.
Game or simulation? I just want to make sure we're clear.
I've lost track. I don't know what
I would love it if there was E2 in DCS. I don't know if this is allowed to be talked about, but screw it. But I mean, well, I don't know. I have been approached to do some. No, it has nothing to do with that. That's people know if I talk DOD.
Okay. Whatever. How about this one?
It has to do. I'm going to do some voiceovers for some DCS for a Hawkeye pilot.
Nice.
That's
Nice,
this
man.
one.
Yeah, so it should be cool. I haven't had a chance to record it yet. So it's like a
What are you gonna
case
say?
3 recovery.
Are you
There's a
going to
whole
do the
new
engine noises? Wow, wow,
That's
wow,
not
wow,
what
wow.
YouTube sounds like at all. That actually hurts my feelings that you don't know. Moving on. So yeah. Anyway, that was inappropriate, and maybe we should feud.
Just in case
Yeah.
you're wondering where to send all hate mail.
Yeah, send it. At least I'll get some mail. I did get this. Look, I got this. Not everybody's all mover. I got that in the mail. How cool
But is that the USS Alabama?
It's
or
the USS
Kid?
Little Rock, which is a
Same
CLG-4, which I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what that is. A guided missile cruiser. It was very nice. CC sent this to me.
That's cool, man.
She actually commented about how this is hilarious. I don't watch YouTube as much, and Mover never writes me back. So thank you for ostracizing your fans, so I get something.
Hey, what was that again? What was that CCGL4? I'm curious.
I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'm sorry.
There it is.
CLG4.
There you go.
Isn't-
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I thought that
that's
was
what-
very nice.
Isn't that what we clean our rifles with?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Hey,
I have no
speaking
idea.
of that, sell them your stuff.
What stuff?
What stuff?
That you were telling me you bought some stuff.
No, I'm not going to talk about that. That's private. That's private. Why don't we talk about the real elephant in the room and how awesome it was to get the bromance together
That was
in
cool. Yeah.
Pensacola?
Have we not
Yeah,
done a show since
and-
then?
We
have
did.
no
I just touched on it, but Wombat wasn't here, man. Hey, so tell
Where's
me,
the
man, how
picture?
did
Where's the picture? No, I got to find the picture now. Hold on.
How about this? Did you tell Mover the big news
You're pregnant.
when we were in the museum?
I feel like I should remember this.
You should. So apparently I'm the only one on the podcast without my name that actually gives a damn about the podcast. So that's good. But Gonky and I are walking around the
Yeah,
museum,
this is pretty cool.
around the greatest aircraft that Grumman ever built. Kidding. We all know that was the Tomcat, but the Hawkeye is a good second. And out of the blue, we
Yeah.
hear, hey, I know those two.
Yeah.
And it was a fan. It was a fan sighting in public. And I feel like a complete dick because I can't remember the guy's name, but super nice guy. And it
Yeah,
was
he's
really
a flight
cool.
instructor up in Chattanooga. The
Yep,
cool thing is he
dude.
recognized Wombat's voice.
Am I
The
allowed
Wombat's-
to
he's-
upload these pictures?
He
probably no
literally was like, I was unsure until I heard the voice. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Mover? I was just
Gonky sent me some pictures a while back and I found them. Am I allowed to upload them or no?
well, it depends. I don't know. What are they pictures of? It was a
The
really
mini-me's. The mini-me's.
yeah, no, I wouldn't put those on there.
Okay.
I'd rather not that.
All right. All right.
It's a
That's
cool
why
place.
I-
So if you have kids,
why I asked
like
the question.
it's like
Oh,
it's-
1,000% if you have kids or don't, or if you're just a kid at heart. Naval Aviation Museum, Pensacola, hands down. I want to go back. In fact, more breaking news. Gonky, you don't even know this.
Where's the banner?
That model that I've posted up on social media.
Oh,
Sure,
yeah.
good.
Thing's awesome. Can I upload
Dude,
that?
Helen said you can upload that.
I got to find it. Hold on.
At any rate, this dude is amazing, right? I mean, he's a pilot as well. And he did the whole history of the Blue Angels for the Naval Aviation Museum. Like every aircraft the Blues have ever
Wow.
flown, he built a model for it and gave it to the museum. So he approached me, dude, it was forever ago, when After Treason Flight came out, and he was like, I want to do a model commemorating the book. And I was like, right? 'Cause
Wow. Dude,
That's
that's
a
awesome.
great segue. There it is.
Is that
And-
not the coolest thing you've ever seen?
That is awesome.
I mean, even the little Rattler's Mighty 600, right? I mean, it's insane, right?
Describe it for the podcast people.
It is a Hawkeye chalked and chained down on the flight deck with a banner on the right-hand side with the VAW 117 wall banger
on.
patch, and then a little plaque talking about the Hawkeye and my book. With the cover of the book as the background, which I thought was really cool. So anyway, he wanted to do this, and I'm like, I will absolutely pay for that. You can notice in the background of that picture, there are some ladders and stuff in the corner there. He actually added people. There's going to be 2 people
Oh,
to it.
yeah.
He doesn't do people. They came out awesome. I was like,
Oh.
also, it commemorates a Hawkeye being broke which is about the most accurate renditioning of a Hawkeye. We're gonna try to meet up at the museum and do the swap there. Yeah, so he's talking to the museum about doing that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
let me know when that happens. That'd be
absolutely. So I want you to come too. It'd be super cool. But dude, I am so humbled by that. Awesome. Mover knows this. I've talked to Mover offline about how I don't deserve it, and Mover has his theory on it. And dude, I am blown away by that. That is going to be a part of. I mean, it will be the centerpiece of my office for the rest of my life. I mean,
are you going to put it in the potty chair?
No, but I may have to. I think we should do a raffle for the potty chairs. We should bring those back.
Where is the potty chair?
They're in the attic. There's
Oh,
two of them.
where's the ready room chair?
It's right behind me. It's just parked.
Oh,
it's right there.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, dude, I am blown away by it. I think it's amazing. I'm super humble for that. I don't deserve that. I mean,
yeah, you do.
And I think it's super cool to take a plane that nobody cares about, nobody knows about, all that. And well, see, you don't though.
If even half the stuff you did in Treason Flight is true, you deserve it.
When I ask for a picture, dude, someone's got to give me the picture, bro.
I think that it is really cool what it's done to the community and all that. And of course, because I'm a humble pilot, I was also like, so you got any OV-10 models that you want to commemorate Vengeance Flight with?
Oh, that's awesome.
He goes, dude, I actually do have one in a box that I want to work on. And I was like, oh man, now I feel horrible. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's super cool. So
you know what? Ask him if he'll do a C-130.
Oh, dude.
Nice. I have gotten backlash on this, by the way, is apparently I did not realize you took a photo in a Herc. Are you blind or no?
But did you delete it? It's gone. Where'd it go? Oh, no. No, sir. No, sir. I got to find it. Hold on. I want to find that.
Wombat Mover has
You're not flying them, though, right?
No, I'm flying a desk, man.
No, that's what I thought. So I felt bad because somebody on social media is like, no, I want Gonky. When I put the post up about Ask Us Anything, and then we just hung out and I didn't actually answer any of the questions that people asked, which was super cool of me. Whatever. I was on vacation. You can hate me. One of the questions was ask Gonky what it's like to fly the Herc. And I'm like, I don't think he does fly the Herc. And then he's like, fake news, bro. He does fly the Herc. And I'm like,
Mover, look what you've done, dude.
I don't even know. I can't find that picture now.
Yeah. Dude, hey, you know what? The winds, dude.
I'm going to spend the rest of
the winds are changing for Gonky.
Mental Health Minute is canceled. Mover's full attention is now.
Now I have to find that picture.
Dude.
So wait, we are or are we not qualified to fly the Herc? Could we just put a button on this?
I have never had a lesson, although I'm extremely confident I can make it.
God.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
should empty your trash.
What you delete comes back tenfold.
Dude, look at how glass cockpit that is. My God.
Yeah, literally see through the glass.
No, dude. Like, remember the last prop I really flew was the Hawkeye. Like, that is amazing. What do all those screens do?
I don't know, dude. I don't fly.
Awesome.
I was just sitting in the seat.
The Weather Channel.
Dude, I'll tell you, man, I can never, ever get over you being an Air Force pilot.
Glittering in.
Oh, I know on that.
I see those oak leaves and I don't want to say bile, but I'm assuming it's what bile. No, I actually know because I'm kind of a professional at getting airsick.
We're going to talk about that. That's a topic.
Perfect. Let's talk about
not the segue though.
Oh, sorry.
Well, because it's not queued up and we don't know who's talking about what because we really didn't plan the show at all because it's Tuesday.
Somebody logged in and was like, "Hey, good luck tonight." And I was like, "He was like, you'll do great." I was like, "I do zero prep, zero thought."
Was the good luck like Liam Neeson good luck? Or was it like good luck, we love you?
Yeah, I think it was
there's
a humble,
ominous
nice
ways you can say it. Yeah.
No. He's an extremely nice guy, and he would only come with a giant heart by saying it. But I literally thought to myself, I'm like, I don't prepare for any of this. Like, and I think it should.
You shouldn't. We don't want you to, man.
Have the day you deserve.
I go. I do no prep. I log in. I hope my stuff actually works, and I hope I don't say something to get fired.
No, you're good.
So.
We want the real Wombat.
It says, why is the C-130 pressurized?
That's funny.
All right. Well, the audience is already talking to us.
Cool.
Man with the Bugs Bunny. Congrats on 1 year. Here's to another 57. That's right. It's been 57 weeks. That's it. That's a Gonky year.
Yes.
That's
Gonky has made it.
That's no wonder
I
he
have
looks
known
so
you
good.
for
His
over
ears
2
are longer than ours.
It's like
I have
exactly.
known you for over 2 decades, and you have said some really dumb crap in the time I've known you, and that may have taken the cake.
He's only like 36 in Gonky years.
That's right. I'm still a young man.
His knees, on the other hand, are 95 in Gonky years.
That's correct.
Unfortunately,
That's correct. They're on a different calendar.
Yeah. Corvette World Rob. I guess this is not him trying to get you into the mafia here. Wombat, buy a Corvette. And I love how he played it safe and made everything caps.
There you go. That's a good. If you don't know,
no way to feud with Wombat if you capitalize everything.
No, except I don't know why he's yelling at me with all caps. I mean,
and the
you buy a damn Corvette.
Yeah, I'd like to drive one. Can I drive one?
Joe says Airwolf. Oh no, sorry, I'm reading from left to right here. He's got an Airwolf badge, which is awesome. Hi guys, welcome Wombat. All caps. DCS is a game. Oof.
Thanks, Joe.
Off the top rope.
That's a tough one.
Somebody just wrote fired would mean I was getting paid for this, and that's hilarious. I just want to put that up because that is.
Wait, what?
Getting fired. I made a comment about trying not to get fired, and they said fired would mean you're getting paid for this, which I'm not. I actually meant fired for my day job.
You ain't the only one.
Yeah, I don't think I could get fired from. I can get canceled from this, but I don't think I can get fired from this podcast.
You can get fired from other stuff as a result of this, though.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Ask Beaver how he knows.
Yeah.
No, wait, don't.
Are we going there? We're not going.
No.
I mean,
We haven't reached that.
That's later.
Yet. AMT says mover Wombat Gonky ruins movies bridges at Tokyo Rai 1954 no CGI.
It's a great movie.
Hey, when are we doing Sully there, Wombat?
dude, you have asked me so many times.
I have
to do this.
The
and
people
I feel
demand it.
If people really want to see us ruin Sully,
They do.
I just is there really that like?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, Wombat, if you're crushed for time mover, there's more than one person on this screen that might know a little something about the Sky Bus. And I just,
but I
played it once in Microsoft Flight Sim. I know a little bit more than you. I get it, but
you probably did.
Yeah, no, I get it. Mover again. I get it. If you want good knowledge about the Airbus, Gonky is not your guy. So
Toko Re has helicopter scenes.
I thought it was Rye. Is it Re?
It might be, but it definitely has helicopters. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know it has a helicopter.
Wow.
That's funny. But yeah, we need to do it. I apologize. Let's do it. Seriously. This month, hopefully it'll be a little bit quieter. Let's do it.
Very nice.
Back in the training department.
Starting the APU. I always say that.
Do you?
Even if it's not appropriate. We're going into the Hudson. I'm starting the APU.
Single greatest thing that guy did. I'll just go ahead and say it.
We'll start the APU.
Yep.
Okay. Renee says, Wombat pitching deck. I'd know that voice anywhere. In it as a pilot also?
It's funny. It's funny reference to pitching deck. Because what people don't know is I was actually on that YouTube video a long time ago. And nobody.
You mean the one with the
PBS special?
Yeah. You were on that one?
That was my first deployment in the Hawkeye.
Oh, wow, dude. God.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember coming down at night behind the ship for my first fleet night trap with Paul Movizo, our maintenance officer. I'll never forget it. And I watched the Nimitz roll, and I saw the 68 on one side. And then I watched it Dutch roll, and I saw the 68 on the other side. And I went, did you see that? And I will never get this out of my head. The biggest eyes looking back at me going, fly your instruments. And I was like, oh, Like, dude,
Yeah,
I had
that's the-
no business being there.
That's when Sex Fravor was the skipper,
Yep.
right? And he pulled the junior girl off to do the night trap because the boat was moving so much.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
after
dude, that
he
night-
fought the UFOs.
Yeah, no, that was all. Yeah, pitching deck, UFOs, Tic Tacs, tons of stuff.
Did
Early-
UFOs cause the pitching deck?
Oh boy.
So little known fact. Now, unfortunately, we've now brought up UFOs. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, that is the part that they don't tell you.
Gravitational waves.
Is the UFOs are what caused pitching deck.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Not the big waves.
So just hold on, let me check for the black helicopter.
They cause the waves, Gonky. If a moon can cause waves, so can an alien.
I don't know this flat Earth science, dude.
That's the normal Earth science, Gonky.
You dealt with some pitching deck in your career, right, dude?
Oh yeah,
Because you were West Coast,
yeah.
not like those East Coast med tour guys.
I don't like.
I mean,
pitching
it's
deck.
like Navy pilot ranking, right? It's like West Coast carrier pilot, and then it's like everybody else, and somewhere mixed up is P3 guys and East Coast carrier pilot. Because like it's just like, well, the deck was up a foot, and we just got out of Crete, so I'm a little hungover. Like that's not real flying. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Renee, when Wombat's voice starts talking to you as the LSO, that means you should listen to his voice and I fly the ball, and that means it's a bad night.
Renee says that's what I was talking about. Did you fly in the special?
Wow.
Let's see. There's actually video of me too, but it's super hard to find on the interwebs. Thank God.
Maxim Chappelle says,
Now
has
everybody's
anyone
gonna
pointed
log
out
off
yet
your
that
show.
Gonky is a Russian word that translates into racist?
Uh-oh.
Race is, not racist.
You know, it's funny.
Significantly different for the people that are not watching the channel. Just so we're
you
clear.
say that, but so at the old flying club we were in, we went. Remember the call sign auction we did, Gonky?
Yeah. Well, we did more than one, right?
You weren't. Well, the one at Eglin, the last one.
Okay.
I
Well,
bought
it was a
two.
auction.
Oh, that's right.
So in the Air Force, we fly with special call signs. Right? It's not just like it's not the Navy thing where you fly with two. You fly with a call sign. And so when you're a flight lead, you can purchase as a gift to the Snacko Fund. It's an auction. You can buy some of the call signs. And so I bought two Nomex,
Yep.
which is what we used on our Finney flight, and Race. And I stopped using Race.
I thought it was Racer.
Nope, it was Race 01 because Racer, that's part of the reason I quit using it. One, on the other side of the field, the test guys were using Racer and ATC kept calling me that. And then two, for whatever reason, Approach would call me Races. And it sounded like Racist 01. And I'm like, I can't, dude. I can't. Yeah. So that's why at the end of the shift there were Nomex. Because I bought two. One was for T-Bear. I bought Nomex for T-Bear because that's what he asked, because that was his whole call sign. And I was Race.
That's right.
And then T-Bear retired. And I was like, I'm taking Nomex back because I own it outright. And also, this call sign is horrible. So I'm tired of being calling Races 01.
Who bought me boat?
Served in very different militaries.
Somebody bought. Did you buy me boat?
I think they bought it for you.
Yeah, they all bought me. So I was boat. I was boat flight, dude. And then they told me, they're like, dude, you have to pronounce it Boat. So I did that for an entire flight, and every controller pronounced it Boat, and I kept reading it back as Boat. I was like, all right.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I couldn't get them to switch. They're like, nope.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, that's why I was never. But to his question. Sure. Sure. Hey, let's talk topics while we're at it. I mean, I think it's time. It's been 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's get to the meat of the mission here. So for those of you who follow me specifically, I was actually going to publish the B1 video tomorrow to kind of spread them out. But since we were doing the show tonight and Gonky wanted to talk about this, the B1 mishap report came out. And if you want the entire, it's the longest mishap report I've ever done because it's the longest mishap report I've ever read. It read like someone very angry and who was very upset and disappointed. And I thought we would talk about the leadership aspect, because it's the first time I've ever seen, and I haven't done them all. I mean, I've heard the ZAR 52 one's pretty bad, and some of the other ones, but it's the first one I've ever read, non-fatality, where it is multiple pages going after like command climate, leadership, vacuums, all kind of other stuff aside from what happened. If you want
witch hunt,
if you want the full mishap report, and even then it's a 51-minute video, and I still cut out the part about they were illegal, the NIF, and they had legally been met up even though they weren't supposed to. Like, there's a lot of stuff I cut out because I was like, dude, I just don't have time for all this. But
wait, so they were med down
legally? Yes, they were supposed to have been deniffed.
I don't understand the legally. Like, that's a pretty black and white, isn't it?
All right,
I mean, you're either medically cleared to fly or not.
So they were not.
I'm sorry. I go back to my previous comment of zero prep.
No, dude, this is a long one. I mean, I read through it, and it's there's a lot of stuff.
Dude, hold on, I'm gonna find it, because qualifications. So they were all medically qualified per documentation. It's very specific language. But administrative discrepancies were noted for 2 mishap formation crew members who received medical care without a documented aeromedical disposition or approved aviation waiver for conditions not meeting flying standards. This should have resulted in a status of duties not including flying before the mishap. They're required to notify flight medicine of all off-base medical care, and such members are administratively placed in DNIF status until an aeromedical provider has adjudicated all care and makes a disposition. Failure to attend directed follow-on care may result in a duty limitation or DNIF status. So that's one thing. They don't name who. And then a mishap maintenance worker was there. So that's what I'm talking about. So
okay, and again, I apologize because I really should have spent the time.
So he
talk to me like I'm stupid. Like, what does that mean in language?
All right, so I got it. So
allegedly,
you were met up, right? You're full up around. You've got your 2992, because I think the Air Force and Navy both do that now. I don't know what that means. You go, and it's your upchit. You go to your civilian doc, and you're like, hey doc, you want to take a look at this? And you don't report it to your flight doc. You went to town and got your civilian doc to look at something, but you didn't go report it to flight medicine. And that was grounding, because you were supposed to report that
regardless of what it is.
Give them an opportunity.
I have a hangnail doc, so there's no and again, I'm seriously being 100% serious here.
Dude, it's like you have an upchip and then you take...
No, dude, it's no kidding. Like, regardless of what I go see my flight doc, there's no gray area. It's like you went in there, you have to come to the flight doc and go, I had a hangnail.
You saw a medical provider for something.
Okay.
You need to go check in with your flight medicine people.
Fun fact, never had a civilian flight doc or a civilian doc when I was in the military. So
well, most people in the military don't. And this is an active duty base. But in this case, 2 mishap formation crew members, and they say mishap formation crew members, which could be the other jet. Like, they don't actually say.
They don't say who's who in the zoo.
Who did what in this case.
Okay. Well, that's not ideal. But I'll devil's advocate that and say, like, maybe it was for something dumb.
You're on a tangent, Wombat. We're not even talking about that.
I'm sorry. I'm excited to be on the show.
We're not even on that now.
Hey, it's my mom's birthday, by the way. Segue. Happy birthday, Mom. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
Seriously, go ahead. Sorry. I do.
So anyway, the statement of opinion was, I've written language like this in writing before, and I was angry when I wrote it at certain leaders. So I understand, but I've never written something that was going to be public like this, because it's very scathing, and I've never seen one that's this scathing and this pointed as far as the board president just rolling in and crushing everybody. So yeah, in case you don't know, the big picture, they didn't fly the plane, right? The weather was bad. Ice fog had rolled in. They had a little bit of a wind shift, and he pushed the throttle up, or sorry, he reduced the throttle and left it there. 3 times, got the backside of the power curve, got a 2,000 foot a minute descent rate, got a full dot low, and none of the 4 people in the airplane caught it until the tail struck. And the IP says, climb, climb, climb. And they don't do anything at first. And he says, climb again. And he lights the afterburner. They hit the approach lights and then end up skidding for 5,000 feet as they eject. So it's an airmanship thing. The other cause was something that I think that both the FAA and the Defense Department do poorly, which was NOTAM management. Because there had been a NOTAM, what used to be called Notice to Airmen, now it's called Notice to Air Missions. There was a NOTAM that was standing for a very long time that said that the centerline paint, the reflective paint, was worn down. And so as a result of that, they increased your minimums by like a half mile. I think it was like a half mile to 5/8 or something like that. The minimums increased because it's like you break out, you can't see it.
Can't see what you're seeing. That makes sense. Okay.
Well, that NOTAM was buried in the NOTAMs. And so no one was ever briefing that. It wasn't as part of their step brief. That's another thing that's different, Wombat. Imagine, if you will, your ODO has to give you a brief before you go fly.
This corporation you worked for sounds amazing, to be honest with you. But,
so you get
I understand what you're saying, because I remember that from Vance. Like
you get multiple briefs and multiple opportunities. You get your formation brief, you get your crew brief, you get your step brief.
And this NOTAM was just missed by everybody.
These guys briefed a little bit in the van. Like they're just, there's all kinds of briefings, but they never once, the slide that had the one thing they needed to brief was hidden. So nobody briefed that they needed to increase their minimums for this approach. So the jet breaks, it's 4 hours from the time that they step to the time they actually take off, because the jet breaks, it's cold, they go back inside, they wait for maintenance to fix it, they go back out, they take off, their flight lead is already like, okay, we're done, let's go back. They have 80,000 pounds of fuel and their alternate is Tinker. So they come back and they're like,
sorry, stupid question. Where are they out of?
South Dakota, Ellsworth.
That's a pretty far alternate.
Well, it's a B1.
Yeah.
So you might as well be flying, big old airplane, because they were.
Yeah.
And so they don't divert. They both formations shoot this approach. The first formation lands uneventfully, even though tower can't see them at all because the visibility is like 5/8 of a mile.
Nice.
They were both illegal on the approach.
I like that.
And all 4 people in this aircraft missed the fact that they got an 1,800 foot a minute descent rate. They were 15 knots slow, like 152 knots, and they were supposed to be 164, so 12 knots slow, I guess. And the engines were spooled down, and they were full dot low, and didn't see the runway. They were looking at
the weather changed from the first to the second, didn't it? Sorry,
no.
We're getting bad weather here.
No.
Same weather? Oh, okay.
First jet lands under the same conditions that the second jet attempted to land.
So you could infer, which we don't like to do, but you can infer that if the second plane was on glide slope,
they would have had the same results.
It would have likely landed.
If
that sucks,
yes.
Man. That sucks.
However, and the first one got the same, they call it's wind shear, performance enhancing wind shear, right? They got a 12 knot increase in performance. So added 12 knots of gust essentially. And then that ended up swinging to a crosswind. So, but he just kept the power like back.
He was, it was, I got you.
So
I can see it, honestly. Gonky, you've done Hornet 1 approaches into Lemoore with the fog. I guarantee it, back in the day. Like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to say you did, but so I could see, okay.
But they don't have a HUD. They don't have a coupled. He's hand flying this and not doing a great job of it. He's only flown twice in 60 days.
Bingo.
That was my next question.
Bingo.
Yep. None of these people have a whole lot of currency.
Yeah.
So
keep cutting your military hours there.
In the cause, they go after the Wizzos in the back, because the one guy, his altimeter was broken, showing 1,000 feet high. They blamed the pilot for not briefing the Wizzo what the VVI was supposed to be, the vertical velocities. Like, well, you didn't tell them, I'm like 750 feet a minute. If you don't see 750 feet a minute, and
I'll debunk that a little bit. Like, how long has this dude been a Wizzo? Right? Like, I mean, it's not his first time seeing it.
Well, it's
right?
Part
like,
of their,
he should have an idea.
It's part of their brief. But anyway, so there's that. One of the Wizzos wasn't wearing gloves. I got him on that. And then they went like culturally, they're like, nobody wears gloves. And then I think one of them, Gonky, was one of them not wearing a helmet.
Yeah, I thought I remember reading that. Yeah.
And then the IP
that felt dope on the ejection.
Was at his last medical 245 pounds, but they weighed him after in the hospital because he hurt himself, and he was 265 pounds.
Outside the seat
limitations, which is why he hurt himself.
Yeah, they left no stone unturned on this one.
But anyway, that's not even like, that's just the flying part. I'm okay with that. I've seen that. And it's not that I'm not okay with this, but I've never seen when they go to substantially contributing factors. Yep, they do the, the CRM stuff. That's great. But they go after the supervision program because of the supervisor of flying didn't highlight the airfield status and hazards, including the NOTAM.
And that's the ODO, right? That's the
ODO.
Okay.
Well, so in the Air Force, you get a top 3 and you get a SOF. And so typically the SOF either is in like a truck or in the tower. Everywhere I've been, like they were in a tower at Eglin, weren't they, Gonky?
Yep.
Yeah, they were in the tower.
Were these the dudes that would watch me to make sure I don't land gear up advance?
No, dude, we didn't have a SOF in the Navy.
That's RSU.
That's right. RSU.
SOF is the group commander's direct representative. And they're the one that's like, bird condition, airfield status, weather recall, like they're making the big picture decision. Top 3 is your squadron
SDO.
Level
SDO.
Yeah. ODO. Okay. That's actually more of the ODO. The squadron level, liaising with maintenance, making sure that the right people are qualified in the right jets and who's the priority. And, you're like the squadron commander running the ops desk essentially.
Okay.
And
so SDO running the ops, the schedule.
The SOF would be your book reader. Well, in this case, they were kind of doing Navy ops because they had, if they were mid-manned, they could combine the positions into one. But the problem was, if they did that, there was like a little bitty window at the ops desk, like far where you couldn't see outside. So this person is giving recommendations based off not being able to look out the window and say, well, it's foggy, I can't see anything. So, but they also gave bad recommendations based on the NOTAM, which is funny. I'm surprised they're not changing this because noticed airman's been changed to noticed air mission. So, but a little bit of sticking it to the man in the report there.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it. But anyway, so they had a bad changeover and the dude wasn't qualified. So you have a currency to be the SOF and they had no way of tracking it. And they had no way of knowing that the person was out of currency, which SOF, I mean, what is the currency? Okay, I can read the book, like.
Maybe he was out of currency for the plane. Would that disqualify him for currency for SOF? I don't know.
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
No. But anyway,
I'm trying to be a positive ray of light here and be a devil's advocate that maybe.
No, there isn't, dude.
So,
there's not much here.
Then there was this other thing that the weather sensors had been out for a long time. Nobody knew about it. It was a whole thing when they flipped the runway around, because that was the other thing too, is they were landing opposite direction. They were actually on runway 31. And when they flipped the runway around, the sensor started showing that there was no data. They're like, oh, well, there's no data here.
Must be fine.
So they didn't even know if they were flying legally or not. But then, so this is where final contributing factor and conclusion. See how many pages this is? This is the part that becomes unusual. The investigation has shown that many failures leading to this mishap were not a one-time occurrence or an aberration. I have noted that the mishap occurred due to numerous factors, including a culture of non-compliance, widespread deviation from established policy and procedure, and several organizational influences and preconditions. Like this dude writes a dissertation. Sorry, this dude, sir, writes a dissertation.
Or dudette. We don't know.
No, it's definitely a dude. It's Colonel Eric D. Lord.
Oh, that's
his name on it. Yeah.
That's a great last name.
Writes a dissertation on the fact that this is it says the 34th Bomb Squadron's lack of effective flying operation supervision, the 28th Operational Support Squadron's failure to communicate airfield and weather capabilities and conditions all speak to culture and leadership issues. After the board's extensive investigation, I conclude the human factors causing and contributing to the mishap were not an aberration. Instead, they reflect broader trends within the two organizations that I just mentioned. They lack proper supervision, which set the conditions for individual causal acts in the overall mishap circumstances and events. I find by the preponderance of the evidence that these leadership and climate issues directly contributed to the mishap. And then he just goes on, like, I mean, this is like Fox 3, like every, well,
not for a bomber guy, J-Dan.
Well, whatever, like pickle, whatever they say. Yeah. Throughout the investigation, they found unsatisfactory levels of basic airmanship, an inadequate focus on foundational governing directive knowledge, and an overall lack of discipline throughout the entire squadron. Throughout 16 interviews with squadron assigned and attached aviators, I discovered improper understanding of 11202. This guy went down and quizzed everybody. And
dude, I bet it is a hoot to be at that squadron right now.
Dude.
Nobody knew about none of the 8 felon members knew that you have to raise the density altitude or the decision altitude when it's cold. Nobody knew about the landing restriction in the NOTAM. The squadron commander said he knew about the NOTAM, but he said it probably is not a big deal. They testified they flew their missions without briefing or knowledge of the NOTAM. Like, he went off. But then he said, okay, the Wizzos weren't wearing gloves. And then the Dizzo freely admitted that in the seconds leading up to the mishap, he was on his after landing checklist. He's like, I'm out. See you guys later. I'm thinking about
in his defense, he had landed. So we've all worked with Wizzo types.
That's true. When the tail touched the ground, we have landed.
Yeah. So again, trying to play devil's advocate.
Then he fat shamed the big guy, which I honestly, dude, you're in the military. I'm sorry. What are you going to do if you got to evade? I mean,
well, dude, no, you know what? As the big guy, I'm going to make a comment on this.
Yeah, but you fixed it.
Yeah.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. We're not fat shaming me either, dude, or else we are going to feud. That's not what I was going to make a comment on. The number one, I'm assuming it's Martin Baker makes the ejection seat. They should probably up their limit.
Aces too.
Testing.
Aces too.
Okay. Well, that's free test pilot stuff right there. Number two, I had to sign waivers in my career for my weight. I did it of my own free will. I knew the threat, and it was a waiver in my NATOP saying that at times. Okay. So, well, here, the only thing I might have an issue with in this is this guy's obviously very thorough. He's obviously got a...
there's more.
What's that? Well, no, hold on. He's obviously got a bone to pick with this. He knew this stuff beforehand and he used this as his avenue, or he found all this out and was just as shocked as everybody else. And is like, whoa, like this is not like a whoopsie. That's a whole command climate thing. And that's his job. The 265 thing, it had nothing to do with the mishap, in my opinion. The guy could fly the plane if he could fit in it. He wasn't low because he was there. And frankly, he made it out. That's the only part where I'm like,
they dinged him because he was the only one that got injured, right, Mover? Like,
right. The big guy got injured. He did not.
Okay. I didn't realize that. So, well, and then in that case, it should be in there because it is a contributing factor to him getting injured. But that being said, he may very well have had a similar waiver to where he knew he was going to get injured if he did that. So I don't, and again, I have not been in this mishap, but continue. I'm sorry.
So they go off the scheduling stuff, and then they at the time of the mishap, and this is where we start to get to cultural problems. The director of operations testified that he was focused primarily on administrative office work, despite the deteriorating weather conditions and additional 2 crews attempting to receive a step brief, all while knowing that he had a junior non-instructor pilot performing the Fox 3, which is their top 3/soft duties. Moreover, there was no established procedure to verify the currency despite local guidance. The Organizational structure in the 28th OSS fostered inadequate supervision, inability to identify and communicate airfield hazards properly, and the commander's inability to recognize and control risk properly. Most of the squadron's assistant director of operations positions, typically occupied by senior company grade or field grade officers, were unfilled due to high priority missions outside the OSS. Approximately 2 months before the mishap, the weather sensor became degraded and the system would no longer observe prevailing visibility. It went largely unnoticed until the mishap. Shortly after the mishap, actually. Tower had some awareness because of an informal agreement with the weather flight to activate the working sensor during airfield closures, which would eliminate the requirement for periodic manual observations. I find by a preponderance of the evidence revealed an ineffective and unhealthy culture which directly contributed to the mishap. Their overall lack of discipline, like he's repeating himself now, coupled with the OSS ineffective communication, inadequate program management, lack of supervisory oversight, set the conditions that allowed this mishap to occur by directly leading to the mishap's cause and its 3 non-weather related substantially contributing factors. And then he comes back and says, yeah, and they couldn't fly worth a crap because of CRM and all that stuff. So I guess the thing is, and here's the topic. The comments are entertaining on that video that I did because, you know, first thing somebody says is, well, it's DEI. And no, that's not Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. That is what diversity, equity, and inclusion. Gonky, we were trying to figure out what it means and whatever. There's nothing in this report that indicates it's anything other than what they said. Like there's no way. However, what is in this report, and I think what you can read into, and we're going to talk about this in other topics, is there is a greater culture in the Air Force of doing more with less, of trying to make things happen when you don't have the conditions, because there's something they don't talk about. And Gonky, you know, you and I kind of talked about this offline. They're not flying much. They've been doing combat operations. They even talk about it in the mishap that they're in a combat footing and they're accepting certain combat risks even in peacetime. The jets are breaking. The jets are old. What did you say, Gonky? They're trying. We can't afford the Air Force that we think we have.
No, exactly. The government can't afford the Air Force they want.
It is a bigger thing, and I talked about this in the mishap video because toxic leadership can ruin an organization. We saw this directly where we were in Florida. Remember day one, Mr. 12 o'clock high, Curtis rolls in and says, you're all a bunch of worthless, entitled 05s.
Literally. I'm an 04, sir, but thanks.
At 6 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, has a commander's call, and that's the first thing he says to us. And that set the tone for probably the worst organization I've ever been a part of or seen. And it nearly ended my ability to get a military retirement. Like I just crawled out of that like last week. So yeah, I take that to heart. But the issue here, the greater issue is that we're not flying enough. Our jets are old, and we're not giving people the tools they need to succeed or survive even in this case. I mean, you can say all day long, and I said this, you know, it's basic airmanship, it's basic flying, but why is there a basic airmanship problem? Where is it starting?
Flight school.
Well, the B1 for one, the B1. I mean, it's kind of we like Wombat and I know a B1 guy, and it's, you know, they start 2 up to make 1.
Well, and that's the thing is you have syllabus waivers, syllabus deviations. You know, the more I do these mishap reports, the more you start piecing it together. The Shaw thing where that poor kid. Yep. The seat didn't fire, right? You go back and you're like, ACES 2, the seat didn't fire, maintenance screwed him over. Well, if you roll it back, the B course waived his night tanking ride. He had never been to the tanker. And they're like, hey, let's do a night suppression of enemy air defense mission, the most complicated mission we can find. Let's make that the first time you ever try to tank. And it's like, what? With no B, because Gonky, you know this. What's the difference between a RAG IP and a fleet IP?
Dude, a lot. The RAG IP has to, I mean, you carry a lot more weight, man.
And more comfort, right? Yeah. You're doing this more like you talked about it when we were talking on the phone. You're getting reps. You know, you're flying twice a day, you know, a couple times a week, and you're getting reps, and you're used to looking at students, and you're used to the common student errors. A combat squadron IP is not the same, and is not looking for the same things that will save that kid's life.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. In my mind, when I read through this, number one, 2 flights in 60 days. I mean, that's number one. I don't care who you are. You're flying a B1, and you know, they just didn't take up, you know, they just didn't go from A to B like you do in an airline with autopilot on. They probably had a mission that was, you know, somewhat complex. That's the big one for me. The fact that they started the airplane, it broke 4 hours later. I mean, that's all contributing factors, man, because 100%. I mean, now the brief's not fresh in your head. You're daydreaming. And for 4 hours, those guys were probably in the bar, drinking coffee, shooting the breeze, playing foosball. I mean, you know,
the pack was dropped because they probably didn't assume they were going to go fly at that point.
And exactly. And they were probably like, man, maybe they won't fix the airplane and we'll just go home.
Especially if they've dealt with that in the past, the plane's breaking, right? I mean, that's how your
well, that's the culture of the B1, right? It's like, hey, let's start 2 to make 1. I mean, that airplane is a maintenance hog, and I love the B1. I think it's an awesome looking airplane, but it's kind of the nature of the beast, man. When you don't, the worst thing for a flying squadron is not to fly. And so what do? You fill the time with a whole bunch of other stuff. Flying gets put on the back burner, but and I can see it when I read this report, man, because I mean, the Navy has had a similar problem, and you got to get these X's done to be green, right? So, you know, it's like you're talking about with the poor kid in the F-16, man. I'm sure somebody was like, this is a pretty push it up mission for this kid, but like, dude, we can get like 8 X's in one flight on this guy, and then he's good for 2 months, you know, whatever. So,
100%.
you know, yeah, these B1 guys are thinking the same thing. They're like, dude, we get 2 flights in 60 days. We got to get as many of these X's as possible. Right. I mean, so the focus goes from operational, you know, per the book to, you know, let's get as many of these things done as we can. And, you know, dude, people will do what they have to do to get the mission done. That's how we're wired. We're mission oriented.
100%.
And you get inverse mission creep, right? Instead of, hey, what will give us the best training? Like you talk about, Gonky, they had 80,000 pounds of gas and their divert was Tinker. Right. But then you start thinking, well, you know, if we divert, this jet's going to be, you know, it's overnight. Maintenance is going to it's not going to be available for the morning go tomorrow. There's going to be other stuff, because when you have abundance, it doesn't matter. When dude, when I was flying, I always go back to that the time I flew, you know, 27 BFM sorties in a month. Dude, it was like we don't have enough people to fly the sorties that maintenance is generating. Like, we were feast. But then you flip to famine at like VFA 204 when we had 1 jet. Right. Then it's like, what can we possibly do to stretch this one airplane to keep people current so we're not doing waivers? And that is where, you know, you start going, well, you know, if we can just get this one more counter, and maybe we'll do a look-see approach. Well, that's not legal, but we're going to try, you know, I mean, we'll divert, you know, we'll go around, go-arounds are free. We'll go around.
And for quitters.
Yeah, but hey, don't divert, because there's 4 other dudes that are supposed to get their X's in that jet today, dude. So bring her back.
Well, so I'd have to look, dude. I think it was, if it wasn't nighttime, it was close. 5:45 in the evening on January 4th. That's got to be
It's got to be dark up there. Yeah.
Dark in the fog.
Yeah.
And cold. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I think that probably this dissection of the culture and the B1 culture, it would not surprise me if you looked around the Air Force and found it in a lot more places. Because
not just the Air Force.
Exactly.
The military.
Exactly.
Everywhere. Not just aviation.
No.
We've been doing this crap for years, man. This isn't news. You know, so Mover, I ask you this. Do you applaud this guy for writing it this way? Did I put you on spot?
I don't know the context.
Okay.
So that's what I would be curious about, because from people who have contacted me, ironically, it's crazy when you get emails like immediately. The
wouldn't have that problem. So
Malord is a stand-up 06 like bomber guy in this community. It's a small community. Everybody knows everybody.
Sure.
So from the people, they're like, if he's bringing it up, it's real. Mm-hmm. So there's that aspect to it. I'm not a huge fan of airing dirty laundry in public through an AIB, especially since it's arguable whether it was causal. Like, because, when you're AIB, it's just like writing a police report. You stick to the facts. You don't start going off on these tangents of, well, this was this and this and this. Like you can go back to what he had for breakfast that day and say, he was in a bad mood. But he could have just stuck to, sync rate, cross-check, CRM, and nobody checked the NOTAM. And it could have been a 25-page report instead of a 69-page report. However, if this is the good dude, because Gonky, you and I know some really good 06s and some really good stand-up 06s, just as like we know some really bad ones. But if it's one of the good ones that's like, nobody's listening to me, and if I don't put this in writing, like I can't sleep at night.
Dude, then I'm like,
you know what?
It's his hill to die on.
Well, yeah, it might be his opportunity to fix his community.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
That was what I was wondering. Is I'm like, if this dude's a good dude, which just with that last name, I'm gonna say is above average. Maybe it's literally like he's been beating this drum and nobody has said or done anything because of the politics and leadership. And he goes, you know what? I tried to tell you, dummies, and you didn't listen. So guess what? Now everybody's going to listen. Because I'll tell you, when this came out, the old fighter pilots on the FB went ballistic on this mishap report. The old guys. Oh man. Right? I don't know if you saw that or not, Gonky, but those old dudes that judge, everything that Mover talks about, they went ballistic on this. And
is this the old fighter pilot? Is it the old fighter pilot
group? Yeah. Group? And they were like, culture, blah, blah, blah. So like there was a lot of stuff that for me, I'm like, dude, maybe this is just a situation where this guy, this was his shot. He's tried everything else. Let's be honest, you don't make 06 if you're firing these shots across the bow as your first avenue, right? Like, how to play the game, how to use the chain of command, how to do it the right way. So likely I'm going to assume that was all done and he wasn't getting the response. He knew, it would not surprise me if this guy for years has been saying, dude, we're going to crash a plane. Like, we keep doing this, we're going to crash a plane. Hey guys, if we keep doing this, we're going to kill people, we're going to eject people, we're going to crash a plane. And then it happens and he goes, I mean, we've all been there on different levels in our career where you're like, dude, I called this. Like, what? Yeah. Why is nobody listening? So maybe this was just his.
He called out.
You know what? If it was, I applaud him for having the cojones to do it. Honestly,
we called out enough people, man. I mean, he's probably going to stop at Lieutenant Colonel.
He's a colonel. No, this is Colonel.
He's probably going to stop at Colonel.
Well, you know what? Some of us have stopped at 04 and it's perfectly fine. So. I have no problem with the rank structure. I like somebody who's willing to say,
I mean,
but again, I see your side too, Mover. There's a very good point of like, hey man, like you kind of kept going. Like you made your case. You had a strong enough case. We didn't need to also fat shame the dude and talk about the guy's gloves. But again, if he's building a case, it's like,
well, his case. He's building the case of an extreme lack of professionalism,
like an egregious lack of safety and leadership.
But Gonky, allegedly, as well as I do, some of that stuff is just the way.
Oh yeah, I never wear gloves.
No,
ever. I like to feel the buttons, man. The way I always think about it is I'll probably get shot down because I can't feel the buttons. But if I don't have gloves,
and get shot down. To Wombat, your point, that is some of the issue I have with it is because there's some stuff that's like 100% valid and like you need to bring this up, but then there's some stuff and it's like and then and you're like, dude, all right, now you're just nitpicking because you ask them, you did what's the deviation for the standard if your density altitude is
well, dude, but remember the people that do these mishaps they're not professional writers, right? There's no training writing wise in doing this. So, you got to give the guy a little bit of benefit of the doubt on that a little bit too, because it's easy.
He passed ACSC, so he had to have written like
I don't know
a
what
million
that is.
papers.
Is that kindergarten?
That's nerd school to become an 06. Like he
Dude,
has gone through Air Command and Staff College, Air War College. Somebody has had the opportunity to tell him what a run-on sentence is and how to break things up into paragraphs by now.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, when you get passionate about something, it's very easy to just keep going.
Oh, I know.
I do it all the
Trust
time
me.
on your
I
show.
know. I've
So-
wanted things with 27 pages. I'm aware.
It wasn't
So,
nearly
I
half
mean-
$1 billion airplane. I mean, he's probably thinking, I better cover everything.
Potentially, because it's a national asset too. And we had that in the Hawkeye. You know,
Yeah.
you're in a different world when you're flying a national asset. Like that's a different animal because of how
Is it
much
a national
costs.
asset?
Dude, it's half $1 billion airplane.
Yeah, it has
No,
to be. The B1 has to be.
The Mishap was $500 million. I think that's including, like, I don't think the airplane. How much is a B1?
$400,000 apparently.
Aircraft. Hold on.
That's it.
I mean, it only destroyed like a couple lights, right? You get
317 million is how much one is.
Where'd the other 100 million come from?
All the things.
Well, the ejection seat.
That's part of the airplane. It comes with the airplane. It's like, dude.
All right. Let's move on because
Are we talking about anything other than B1s tonight?
No. Doug, do you have the E2 thing?
Oh,
now we're talking.
Now here
Speaking
I
of
got
great
it.
airplanes.
I'm gonna move that.
Yeah.
up because
Somebody
it doesn't
with
look like we're gonna get
bandwidth.
Hold on. Let me see.
Also, we have almost 20 starred chats.
Oh, we do? You want to do those first?
While you do that,
Ooh, I like that.
I'll
Do
get to the
chats
star
that
chats.
build it up. Everybody wants more Hawkeye.
Janitor's back says mover should have been called ground beef. Why? Why?
I can think of way better call signs. Than that.
Whoops. let me-
Racer 1505 says that's what our unit call sign was. Racer. Well, it's better than races. Pneumatic Elephant says, met a guy the other day with the coolest call sign. O'Toole, one takeoff, one landing. The history of why is, of course, classified. Great to see y'all.
That's awesome.
Peter Mach. Thank God the airlines don't play the DNIF game. Most flights would never get off with crew scheduled crew, but great way to get premium pay. I mean,
Never
yeah,
fly sick.
it's
Never
yeah,
fly sick.
that's a different. You're still not supposed to fly with ailments. The Islamic State. God, grew up near PDX. Love seeing
$10 is $10, Merber. Keep reading.
I'll read anything for $10. Love seeing
boy.
the Oregon Air National Guard. Somebody's gonna Manchester that. Take off. Glad they're getting the EX Eagle. Will always be my favorite. No fear, Gronky and Horn is my number 2. Sorry, mover. No love for. I'm not even gonna say it.
Falcon.
Ethor, what's up, Ethor? Back in 2016, a Delta plane landed at Ellsworth instead of
This was
Rapid
not
City.
me, by the way, just so we can be
Went into
clear.
lockdown since they are a nuclear base.
That was not
Oops.
me. Yeah, that's not
Oopsie.
ideal.
Pneumatic Elephant says, mover, the B1 outbrief video was fantastic, but discussing it with the other two is hands down awesome. You're in your happy place doing it. Thanks.
This is your happy place because you want people to get better.
Here's what I want. I want the Air Force to go back to fly, fight, and win.
Yes.
That's it.
Thank you, dude.
I want to see
Is
an
that the
Air
Navy?
Force.
I thought that was fly.
No, dude. I want to see a military that is focused on
Winning.
killing
Being a
people,
military?
doing their things, and winning, and it creates a culture of this. And
But
not
do we have enough people that remember that culture to actually do it? That's the problem.
no, because they're all dead by now.
Yeah.
Like that's how far back you have to go.
Could you imagine if you walked into the military right now and you said, guys, girls, this is what we're doing. This is our new motto. Go forth. You'd have so many different groups. Like some people would be like, what? And then you'd have some dudes like the younger versions of us that it would be
I'm here
like,
for college.
yes. And they'd immediately get killed because they would do something stupid. So they'd be like, I can do what? This is amazing.
Well,
and
it
then
would
they'd
be
crash because
it
they
would be
don't have
painful.
the.
Yeah, it would be painful because you would realize immediately how many positions you could eliminate.
Oh yeah.
You'd also
would
probably
assume-
realize how lack of proficiency you have.
Oh,
lack of
1,000%.
That's
1,000%.
not good either.
Yeah.
Anyway.
John says this was the colonel's capstone project for his organizational leadership course. He's like, I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. Barstool Club driver, thank you.
Thanks,
he also says, what would happen to the pilot's crew UCMJ wise? I don't think UCMJ. I think probably some people in leadership may have gotten something.
Unleadershiped?
I haven't seen anything about relief of command or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised. So I don't know. Let's see. Getting to Pneumatic Elephant says, Wombat, what is a hole in the back of LSO vest for?
To save your buddy's butt if you need to pull him out of the way of something or pull him into the chute.
There's a hole in the back for your buddy's
butt. So if like the controlling LSO is so locked in, focused, and there's a crash or something's going to happen, the backup would grab the back of the vest and they would pull him into the emergency basket. Okay. So actually every flight deck jersey has it. Every flow coat has it. But the LSO one, because it's white, it's more obvious.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I used one once when I jumped into the basket.
Peter,
I realized we were the only two in the basket.
Dan O'Grady says, fixing a rescue and listening to the bros talk about mishap. Can't think of a better way to spend a work evening.
Thanks, Dan.
Like a dog.
Look at that puppy.
Yeah. Peter,
like physically again, fixing, because that sounds like you should really focus
the
on
only
that.
way to fix the washing machine is to air the dirty laundry.
Mm-hmm. Valid.
Colton says, sad to hear about the B1 guys. On a happier note, 2 F-16s from the 140th had Finney flights recently. That is not a happier note.
No. Finney flights aren't happy.
Okay. Kids, shield your eyes.
This is about when my internet's going to go out because of the massive storm going over our house right now.
I disappeared for a little bit while you guys were talking, so I'm glad nobody's mentioned it yet.
Yeah. You're always here in our hearts.
Yeah, so this video is kind of obscure because I wanted to talk about it a while ago, but we didn't get a chance to. I've never seen it before. So before I show it, so the top of the deck on the carrier, and correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it is basically like Rhino line, right? The entire
non-skid. It's non-skid.
Non-skid, exactly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So when you first go on deployment, it's pretty good, right? I mean, it's on there, but obviously after, I don't know, hundreds of takeoffs and landings and airplanes taxiing over, the non-skid starts to come off, and then you get down to the steel of the flight deck, and then things get a little more slippery. So I'll play the video here, and then it's very quick. Here we go.
It's a short video.
It is. So it's an E2. They're on Saratoga. This is 9091 during Desert Storm.
Yeah, Desert Storm.
And here we go. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, there's an E2.
Yeah. See.
Look at that thing.
Tokyo man. Drift.
Black ice, baby, right there.
Right where we wanted to park it.
Yeah, nailed it.
Right next to an A6.
Like a glove.
I think it might play it again. Yeah, there's a Tomcat. And what it hit there, I think, was a external fuel tank that they were moving. So here, I'll just play it for you.
I have so much respect for those guys, those firefighters.
Look at this, man. Drop tank goes flying.
That's awesome.
What is the cause of this?
Well, that's what. So, all right, here we go. Let me pause this. Stop sharing. All right, Wombat. So, have you ever in a Hawkeye, T-45, or Hornet had a problem with sliding on the deck?
All three, Bob. All three. Oh yeah.
Anything like that though?
Not that much. But we did get sideways in a Hawkeye. That scared me due to lack of ejection seats in the landing area. We got 90 off of the landing area because it just started sliding because of the pitching deck. Yep, that was a dope time. And then we would also, because let's make a long list of dumb crap we did in the Hawkeye. I'm pretty sure my mom's still listening, so this will help her age a little bit more. We would back the plane into the parking spot, because why wouldn't you on an aircraft carrier? You have the props, just back her in. The problem, if you look at a Hawkeye and you're backing in to either the forward or aft Hummer hole, as it was so much called, which I like, if you step on the brakes too hard, the nose comes up, which is bad, especially if you step on the brakes too hard and it doesn't stop. And then you step harder because you think that's going to make a difference. And you tilt the nose and the tail is over the back of the ship, the side of the ship, where it's not going to stop. At least if you're in the middle of flight deck, it'll hit the tail. You're like, all right, well, I'm here. This thing's a rental. But if the tail is over the water, it'll just keep going. Yeah. We and our squadron came very close to that. I've had the Hornet slip on me at night, taxiing up on the bow in pitching deck, which was not fun, but there is something to be said for having an ejection seat. But as you know, if the wheel goes over, you're out of the ejection seat envelope immediately. So that kind of stinks. And the T-45, it slipped a little, but it was hilarious to me because it's daytime. And I'm like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? You're like in a little go-kart. You're like, relax, champ. Like, we're fine. There's nobody on the flight deck. Like T-45 carrier quals is the best because it's an empty flight deck.
So like the only time I've ever had issues sliding around is using high gain nose wheel steering, it wouldn't bite. But what I wanted to ask you was, being an E2 guy, it's a pretty aggressive Tokyo, like Mover said, pretty aggressive Tokyo drift around the front of that Tomcat. What do you think? I mean, was he taxiing too fast, or you think there was a big swell or a combination of both?
I was curious. You can't really tell. And I mean, who knows? I mean, but you can't really tell based on the video if the deck's moving around or if it's I mean, again, remember, it's Desert Storm. They're doing combat ops. They're using that flight deck up. So my guess is the flight deck's probably not helping. The E2 was easy to taxi. It had a lot of thrust, with the props. But because of its size, at least in my experience, if you taxied too fast in the E2, they were slowing you down. Like they were giving you the dude, because again, the thing is a massive beast on the flight deck comparatively. Now, back in that day, maybe not as much because you had things like Tomcat and stuff like that were pretty big.
But what I wanted to ask you was, how like if you're taxiing, the A320, even at idle, has a lot of thrust, right? So it taxis really fast and you got to ride the brakes. Is the E2 like that? Like at idle?
Because of the blades, I don't ever recall that necessarily being an issue. My guess would be, nighttime, remember when you're on a carrier, vertigo can happen taxiing. It's not just, and I've had that too, where I'm taxiing around and I'm getting all sorts of screwed up because being on a carrier and the plane, the carrier's moving. It's a very unique, as situation where, where normally when you're on the ground taxiing, you're now back to two-dimensional world.
Yep.
On an aircraft carrier, you're not, because it could still be heaving and Dutch rolling and things like that. The guy knew it because if you look on the video, he is trying very hard to get his nose wheel steering. I mean, it was at the limit. And that is not that is a very deliberate thing in the Hawkeye. So the nose wheel steering, for the people that don't know, is actually a pistol grip, is what it is. And it folds out. And you would kind of do this to it to turn it. So he had that thing full lock, trying to turn away from that A6. But I mean, I think the proverbial wheels had fallen off at that point.
Yeah.
So thank God nobody got hurt. I mean, that drop tank is awesome. Shoots across like a pea coming out. You're like, oh, we don't need that guy anymore. But
safest
again,
place, man, in the old cockpit, man.
And right, but I mean, you got back in that day, 8 blades of fury spinning around. I mean, dude, anybody could have gotten
very lucky
taken off with that thing. But also notice the prop actually didn't eat itself.
I know.
That
surprised me when it hit
that thing, and it was like, because I was like, oh, there's gonna be a blade missing. No, because it's Grumman built, and they don't mess around.
Mover, what are your closing thoughts on that?
Don't fly E2s on the ship, or ever.
I get it. Boats are dumb.
Yeah. Unless it's a call sign, and then it's
make better life choices. I don't know what to tell you.
I think mine's worked out pretty well. I'll take that. It's crazy though. That was a crazy video when you showed it.
Yeah, no, I'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that Spartan Gamer says, hi, gents. Wanted to thank the 3 of you for all you do. I'm a ROTC mid-going submarines. Plans changed after I started college, but y'all inspired me to serve and push through some personal stuff.
Awesome, man.
Well, he's got to change his picture to be a submarine and not a Hornet.
Or just nothing. No, dude, they're the silent deadly
service
or whatever. Yeah,
the silent service.
So just nothing, just a blank. It's like a picture of the water. Oh.
Good on him. I mean,
Yeah.
Good on him. That's something I couldn't do.
Swaggable Tactical. Swaggable Tactical. Currently going soon to the Air National Guard, and I hate active duty politics. Well, I've got news for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of poor life choices.
Yeah. Hate to tell you this one, but you're gonna have politics no matter where you go.
Yeah.
Your state politics. Get up for that one. Steve likes Rhino, says Grumman Ironwork.
It's a thing.
It is a thing. I have a patch.
I know you do.
Colin says regarding the Saratoga during Desert Storm, the non-skid on her flight deck was worn bare for the length of 2 football fields and was red with rust.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. That was every deployment towards the end, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
so they just spray some Rhino liner on it or what?
They tried to patch it at times, but dude, that stuff would come off. I mean, especially back in the day, dude. You had the Tomcat doing run-ups. Like, good luck. Okay.
Well, Desert Storm, dude. I mean, that was high op tempo, right? I mean, they
high op tempo, combat ops, doing combat shots with the Tomcat. Like, you're lucky there was a flight deck left on that thing.
That's true.
Come on.
No bueno.
Nope.
All right.
It's just, but I saw it. You saw it every one of your deployments. Like, that's just the reality of it's a disposable item. So,
shifting gears. Shifting gears.
Yes. Let's
do
shift.
it. Do it.
Literally shifting gears.
General Motors, wake up.
No, that's automatically shifting gears, dude.
Well, it's dual clutch.
Still, that's just a fancy name for
automatic. So Corvette shocked the world, including me. And we're talking about this. You know, it's so funny. We don't talk about Corvettes enough because I went to the Chevy YouTube thing and I was like, hope this isn't the last one. And somebody's like, Mover, you're here. I didn't know you like Corvettes. And I'm like, where have I failed the world?
The list is long, but just
yeah, but about Corvettes, I mean, I've had, I own a ZR1, not this one,
allegedly,
but the last great one, the one that's got a manual transmission and
there you go, dude.
Front mid engine. But dude, check out the ZR1 because I'm going to turn Wombat into a believer here because Mustang put out their Dark Horse or whatever, and
I don't know.
Corvette's like, hold my beer. And so look at that, 1,064 horsepower and 828 pound-feet of torque. And when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, well, it's hybrid. They're just doing some funky math. No, this thing is twin turbo. Sorry, turbine. I'm thinking Turbine Legend. Twin turbo. And there's a video. I wonder if the
20. It's got 20 pounds of boost going through the motor, right?
Here's
the power is just unrelenting and almost indescribable.
I feel like you just described it.
Hi, I'm Brad Franz from Chevrolet Marketing, and today I'm here with Josh Holder on the introduction of the all-new Corvette ZR1. Josh, we understand the team's been super excited about this, but before we dive into ZR1, can we just talk a little bit about the journey that we've been on and what Corvette has meant over the last couple of years leading up to this point?
We planned the ZR1 from the beginning. So with the Stingray, followed by the track-ready Z06, followed by the all-weather capability of the E-Ray, the hardware that goes in each of those cars was planned from the beginning, which is why the LT7 evolved from the LT6. It still got that flat plane crank, high revving magic, but this time the equipped turbochargers really bring the power to these unbelievable levels.
And you know, when you sit and look at the car, it just looks fast, right? Like every Corvette. How important is it to also keep the design cues that have made this generation of Corvette so special?
Like an NSX now.
Well, keeping the foundation lets us keep the fantastic mid-engine proportions. The cues on the ZR1 expand upon its performance. So everything you see on the outside of the ZR1 has some functional purpose, and many of them have more than one functional purpose. The
ZR1,
We'll skip around.
3,000 RPM to 6,500 RPM, more than 1,000 pounds of downforce.
That's a lot
at top speed, and a quarter-mile time well under 10 seconds. It's going to be the fastest Corvette that we've ever done.
Okay, all right. Well, that's an important one here. Let's just take a step back. Fastest Corvette ever. Are you confirming 212 plus today?
significantly faster than 212 miles an hour. It's absolutely incredible.
And when you start to think about the
car, but it doesn't go away. It never disappoints. You never get used to this kind of power. It's always special. It's always enjoyable. So the ZR1 represents the first ever factory turbocharged Corvette.
when you think about turbocharged,
High as possible. We change ignition. It's incredible.
extremely to offer. You guys really.
All right. Yeah. So I think none of us can afford it except maybe Wombat.
Dude, I mean, I'm a car guy. Always been a car guy. In fact, that's one of the, when Wombat and I were younger, that's when we weren't struggling in flight school, we were messing with cars. But
some of us were messing with cars while struggling in flight school. Speak
Correct.
for yourself, all right? Or else I would have never had time for cars.
Dude, flying Navy fighter jets completely ruined cars for me. I can't I think I saw where the
An 89 Camaro IROC Z ruined cars for you. It had nothing to do with flying.
No. Like the ZR1, I was reading about it. It goes 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, right? So I mean, that's fine, but I'm, catch shot, you're doing 170 miles an hour in 2.5 seconds, right? So like, it's a nice looking car. It's shiny. I mean, it's nice, but I can't get excited about the performance anymore because fighter jets are just better.
You ever been on a road course, Gonky?
No.
I bet you've been.
Gonky's more of a straight line guy. Let's talk about Coyote.
I'm an American, dude.
Oklahoma.
American, straight line.
That's the thing is you come at this from a position of ignorance, and I don't blame you.
Not just ignorance, also arrogance of being a fighter
Arrogance
pilot.
and
Just so we're
ignorance
clear.
at the same time.
No chance.
American way. But there's a lot more like for that, dude. I mean, if we were talking about a Hellcat, sure. But this car is going to go and pull like probably 1.2 Gs on the skid pad. And have you ever experienced 1.2 G? No, dude, we need to get you in a race car. We need to get you in a race car.
Angle of bank, is that correct?
For the watchers at home, both of the other fighter pilots here have experienced more than 1.2 Gs.
Laterally.
Probably.
If you do that laterally in a Hornet,
pilot.
you've departed. If you've done it laterally
I
in a
have
Hornet,
departed in a Hornet.
you've departed. Control
departed.
flight. It is not.
I
Dude,
got
it's
the
different.
arrows.
It's different.
all I'm
it's
saying-
just different.
I know, dude.
It's
Listen,
different.
most fighter pilots, a lot of fighter pilots are car guys and gals as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
I mean, I still am, even though I just don't.
Dude, you and your minivans, and I'm
try to-
disappointed in you.
I drive an
I'm
old
so
diesel truck.
disappointed in you right now. Like I can't even put it in the words.
It's an awesome car, man. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, I can't be impressed because I went on a cat shot. Who cares? You drive a minivan now.
Exactly, because I'm like, this is pointless unless they put like 8,000 horsepower in this thing. I'm not going to be excited.
They're on their way. It's 1,000.
Well, I will say this: I saw a Z06, which has the flat plane crank, like literally on Sunday, and that dude got on it right next to me, and that sounded amazing.
Look,
Smoke
if
the
it's good enough
minivan.
for the astronauts, it's good enough for you, Gonky.
Question. If you want to talk about Corvettes, I will ask intelligent questions about this car. Is the ZR1 a flat plane crank?
Yeah.
Are they having the same issues with flat plane cranks that Ford had with the GT350?
No, they have their own new issues with the flat plane crank.
Well, because one of the issues of flat plane cranks done in American cars, because I've owned one, is a flat plane crank sounds amazing.
Correct.
Because they're a high revving motor. Now,
Correct.
the problem with flat plane cranks is they have to be tuned perfectly, balanced perfectly, or they just eat themselves. Now, I'm not saying that certain auto manufacturers are better at quality control than, say, some of the old American ones, but that might be leading to some of the issues. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this car. I'd love to drive one. Maybe, it'd be awesome is if Corvette let me drive one before you. That would be marketing.
Did Ford put, well, I'll never get, I think this thing's going to be probably 200 grand plus 100,000 over MSRP, and you'll never see one.
That's the issue.
did Ford put their name on the engines that they built? Did they have like the dude who built it as the nameplate? Yeah. So they did this here, and I was at the dealer a while
so
back.
you know who to be pissed off at when the oil pan dropped.
Well, because that happened. This guy buys this car for like 30 grand over MSRP at this dealer, and his wife is like on the phone while he's in the finance office telling him, don't you dare bring this car home. He's like, whatever. Hangs up. He gets 10 miles on the car and the motor grenades. So he gets flatbed back. The car sits in the shop for 6 weeks. His wife, they canceled the check. And so this car was, because I was talking to the shop foreman, and he's like, yeah, this car is getting a brand new engine. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, it had 10 miles on it. I sat in it. It was nice. Anyway,
that's my only issue. Like the flat plane crank thing, as somebody who's driven it, is fun. But now the other question I have regarding the new Corvette, I'm not trying to knock the Corvette. You brought up Corvette, so you opened this door. One of the critiques of this generation Corvette was the lack of visceral feedback to the driver. Have you heard anything about that when we get up to the you know what I'm talking about? Because yours
I've never driven. I've driven the C8 Z51. I did that on my commercial helicopter check ride, which was awesome. But I've never driven the Z06 or obviously the ZR1, which again, I'm available if necessary. However, I don't know. I'd like to do the Spring Mountain course because I think that would be a good place to test it. Because that's what I did with my ZR1. Before I took it on the track, it came with a 2-day Spring Mountain course, and you found the limits of that car. And then I went and took it on the track and still didn't find the limits of the car.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just curious because that was one of the big negatives of this generation, right? Is that there wasn't that they've lost the feel.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that it lost the feel. I know a lot of people that track them and enjoy them. What I think is going to be an issue is the weight. And if people, well, first of all, I think the odds of people tracking this car are pretty low because of how much it's going to
buy
cost.
it and park it. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. But if you do track it, the consumables are going to be off the charts because it's 4,000 pounds, with the super soft tires. And the carbon, the CCBs, the carbon ceramic brakes, or the ceramic brakes. And I just don't see a cheap way, because people were complaining about the GT500 being a pig with expendables, or, as far as that. 1,000 horsepower on this car.
Oh, dude,
you're gonna
have to change tires mid-lap.
I think it's gonna be one 2-day track weekend, and you're talking $2,000. Doug, what do you think, man?
I think 1,000 horsepower is visceral.
But Doug, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you get what I'm saying about that, because there are things.
The first time I was in a C7, I was amazed at how smooth it was at speed. So I can see people not liking that, but I loved it.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, it makes a fast car, 100%. Because it makes a good driver out of an average driver, right?
1,000 horsepower and the kind of downforce that car has, it is gonna make you hurt.
1,000 pounds of downforce. The ZR1 that I have has like 810 pounds.
That's like 4 B1 pilots worth of downforce.
They couldn't lie and make it 1,069. Come on.
I was going to ask that as well. I was like, I am disappointed at Chevy.
That's because they have engineers and not fighter pilots.
That's within dyno error.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're like, nah, it's fine. It's cool, dude. I'm with you, man. I'll drive shotgun when GM gets off their butt and actually realizes who the real influencer is here and get you the keys.
That's the only way I'm going to get in one, is if I go back to instructing and sit in the passenger seat.
Points out that once mover sits in a C-130, fast cars don't matter.
That's Gonky. Gonky's the other guy. You said mover. Are you tired?
Oh, once Gonky sits in a C-130, fast cars don't matter. I don't know. That's not mover. See, it's got a G on his chest.
It's not Gonky either.
That is 100% Gonky.
That's funny.
That's Gonky.
Moving on. It's a cool car. I'd be curious to see. But you're right. The people that buy it aren't going to actually use it for what it's.
It's a big hat. It's funny. Janitor's back also says Gonky is fine with a Honda 125 dirt bike.
I don't know about that big.
It's funny. I do ride a 125.
Dan O'Grady says, got the rig fixed up. Wombat back home watching the Viper with Viper and Echo. They're sending puppy high fives to Luna. Where is Luna? I guess she must be in contract negotiations.
I think that means he was working on a rescue rig rather than a rescue dog.
Yeah, like
for those who are keeping score.
What is a rescue rig?
Like a fire truck?
Yeah,
probably a fire truck.
I'm sure he'll
called out for calling it a fire truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. Okay, it's cool car. Let me know when you're getting one. I'll go pick it up with you at the museum.
Sorry, Doug has that seat.
Oh, okay. Well, then
I called shotgun years ago.
Yeah, how about that?
Doug is already. You can buy your own.
No, I'm good.
I'll go with you. Pick yours up on it.
Nah, I'm good. I've evolved past Corvettes.
I may have just given up my right to pick one up with Mover.
United Airlines flight biohazard incident.
Someone ate the fish.
It was supposed to be salmon.
It's supposed to. That's right.
Are we just gonna leave this for the people to read themselves, or how?
Gonky was doing this one.
Oh, am I doing this one? Hold on, dude.
You guys are awesome, man. One Gonky year of doing this podcast, and you guys just have it. I mean,
well, dude,
I'll tell you what. I will say right now,
real quick.
Yeah,
Joe Rogan, watch out.
You do this one since you've got it pulled up, dude.
I don't have it pulled up. Doug, do it.
I got fired from reading.
Nah, dude. Here, hold on. Let me.
All right. So, a biohazard prompts. One passenger starts puking, and then it's the chain of events, including all the crew members. And then they posted the article by Area 51. They departed Houston, going to Dulles. Diverted to Dulles, was bound for Boston Logan International Airport, but they had to divert because everybody started puking, which I would be too, dude. If that happened and I could smell it in the front, it's over.
You're not going to smell that in the front.
In a 7.3, it's a common venom. I mean,
weren't they in a 7.6?
No idea. I don't know anything about 7.3.
I thought it said 7.3. They showed a picture of a 7.3.
No, well then you know it's a 7.3.
Well, that's because that's popular now.
Put the wrong picture.
It's probably an Airbus. That's why they showed a picture of a Boeing.
Probably.
Yeah. It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, whatever they were in. I guess they got sick and they don't know what it was, but they had to do a deep cleaning, and the crew is vomiting, and passengers all around are asking for masks.
Oh, dude.
Do they keep masks on airplanes?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Pop the hit the switch for the
So the only thing that I don't like about this article is the biohazard term is a little bit of clickbait, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It is a
because
biohazard.
I had a flight recently where unfortunately, I felt bad for them. Young ladies got sick and threw up, and we had to call for a biohazard cleanup. It's not. Yeah, I mean that's just what you call it. It's not So now I think this was bigger than that, allegedly. It sounds like, but that's the only part of this that I'm like. And then people were talking about like, would the pilots smell it? Dude, I don't know, man. Like, because think about all the stuff. At least. And I don't know anything about 7.3, and I hope to never know anything about 7.3. But like I can tell in the Airbus when they're doing the first class service and cooking meals, and I never smell it. So if I can't smell, the old
you can't smell it?
Well, I can smell it, dude. When they
I can smell the bread. Always smell the bread.
Oh yeah.
What did they do with my sinus surgery?
Dude, you got something wrong.
Yeah, you got Rona.
Rona has damaged you forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can smell it when they're heating stuff up in there.
Huh. I might explain the looks on my FO's faces when I let a little go and I never smell it. So don't worry about it.
We're all about honesty. This is a transparent show, man.
Do we need a TMI banner?
Nothing's held back here.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I'm the only one that's ever farted in a cockpit. You guys, grow up.
I love it.
Come on.
No,
have a little fun in life. Life is short.
You're 100% right. But yeah, no, you're right, Wombat. Blood, pee, poop, puke. It's all the biohazard team comes off. They put their little deal around it. They spray their stuff on it, and then the seats are now open.
Yeah, see, and I have confirmation. One of the most average FOs I've ever flown with just texted me and told me that she doesn't smell it when they cook meals either. So there.
Maybe
I thought she was going to say something else. Jeez, I didn't know where that was going until you got there.
Maybe she's got damage.
Well, I got there. So get your mind out of the gutter because she was Air Force trained.
I can smell it.
Huh. Maybe we just
Like
had
a
better
girl
insulation.
that had no sense of smell. She lost it when she got a concussion.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, dude, I mean, there's different configurations. Y'all's airplanes might be configured different.
Yeah, they're premium cocky.
Compared to ours. Compared to ours.
They're not a couple egg crates in the back with a seatbelt.
That's what I'm saying. Bring your own seat. What are you talking about, man?
The folding lawn chairs aren't back there.
That's right.
I don't know. Anyway, that sucks. I feel bad for the people.
Yeah, same.
Was there bad? Did anybody bring up like the reason? Was it food, or was there turbulence, or was there a combination?
It's under investigation.
Oh, okay, that's a bummer.
Anyway,
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's why I always let the FO eat first, just in case it's the food. They think I'm being nice.
You're the king of that airplane, man. He's like your official taster.
Gonky, do you have this one, or am I doing this as well?
No, you can put it up.
All right, you got it.
Oh, Doug, put it up. There you go. All right. So, yeah, the UAE sent a couple of Mirages and a Airbus A330 tanker to China to train with the Chinese. So, obviously,
cool.
They have U.S. equipment, and the whole article is about, hey, potentially was anything compromised. I mean, I think this is the first time they've done it. So they went out there. They think they took 8 airplanes, and the Mirage 2000, I guess, is primarily I don't know a ton about it, but it's primarily a air to ground, air to surface for you Top Gun nerds platform.
Well played.
Yes. And the article doesn't say anything about, if there were, aggressor type role or if they're, working embedded with them. But, I know they have the F-16s, right, UAE. So, I mean, they have some U.S. equipment. And, the concern is, was there any bleed over in, tactics, stuff like that? I mean,
I doubt it.
I mean, it definitely makes me raise an eyebrow because, there's the threat, right? So, or there's the
penetration strikes. Nice, well played, Mirage.
There will soon be a J-19 that'll be out. That'll look
they'll look just like a Mirage.
Yeah,
it'll be a J2000.
Strangely, yeah. Right. Why does it look so familiar?
Would it be less deep penetration strike capable though?
They made it a single seat. They could get a little more deeper.
Is that a T-38?
Huh?
Dude, that's a T-38.
I love you guys. Are
you can X out
awesome.
of that. That's not. Wait,
no. Let's watch this. Who's getting the LOR for that?
That is a T-30. Dude, that's a black jet too, isn't it?
Yes. What is this?
I don't know, but it's not you. That's for sure.
It's not me or you.
No,
it's not us. Wait, hold on. Watch the video. Stop. Whatever
that's
you're doing,
it.
Douglas. Is there sound? We hear what they're talking about. Sanitized with no patches.
That's it, man.
Aileron roll. Nope. It's an incentive flight.
It's AI. It's not real.
That's it, dude.
No, it's an incentive flight.
Yeah, right. That's the back seat.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we've gone completely down this.
I just random. I mean, I'm curious why this happened.
Dude, it's just an ad on the website.
Well, it's in the middle of the article.
Yeah, those are the best ads.
The title said flying red air in a T-38.
Yeah, those are the best ads. Mover.
It's called marketing.
Right. Right. Yeah. Anyway, so there's a T-38 doing red air, and then also there's Mirages in China.
The T-38 to China
that's also potentially doing red air. We don't know. So we're not sure if there's bleed over with the T-38 or the Mirage 2000 in this case.
I feel safe if there's 238 bleed over. Let's be honest. Like, you can have it.
I don't know.
You
know, it depends on how much the Mirage 2000 people talk with other platforms in their country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not ideal either way, in my opinion.
No, I mean,
no.
As Navy guys, right? Wombat, we didn't like. I don't know anything about the Eagle stuff because we never talked to those guys.
No.
You know, if you captured me and you're like, well, but I'm just saying, it's like, well, I can't tell you any of their tactics because we don't talk.
Well,
to
I mean, these are upgraded Mirages. They're newer because the UAE is not
90s,
not
right?
running with anything. Well, it said upgraded.
Yeah,
underground. So I mean, there might be some technological bleed over that they can get, but the French are probably already just giving it to them.
Correct.
It's the French. You know, we're not.
Oh boy, here we go. Don't you go quitting on me.
I'm just throwing it out there that there's a chance that they already know.
Yeah, it's Lemoyne, man. He can talk about them. Yeah, but dude, I'm sure the UAE specifically, you know, they're like, well, we won't send F-16s. We'll send these.
I just think it's probably a bad look from a strategic perspective because they're not 100%. Our friends right now, and it's a little bit tense. But China is trying to get a foothold in the Middle East, and that is their stated goal. They're trying to increase their.
I don't know why. I spent a lot of time over it.
Yes, 100%, dude. I mean, and they're going to. They're going to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good talk. It's a good talk. We really knocked that one out of the park.
Yeah, no, that one was. There were highs and lows. It was an emotional roller coaster. Thank you for that, taking me on that ride.
Mover's like a dog. Blue car.
Patrick says, "Hate to derail things.
Yes.
But what are Wombat's favorite pieces of Wombat trivia?" Square poops.
Square poop. That's my favorite. So it doesn't roll away when you're building a defense around your den.
You know, if you go on the dating apps, you'll see that they'll talk about that a lot. I don't know why, but every time I see a girl's profile and it's like one random trivia that I know, and it's wombats have square poops. It's like the most common one.
It could be. I'm just going to say maybe because somebody who wrote an amazing best-selling book about the E2 also goes by wombat. It's all over the interwebs. People are like, what the hell's a wombat? They Google it. I'm bringing the world together. I'm doing good things based on wombats, square poops.
We're really hitting this one out of the park. Dan O'Grady says, walk-in rescue for our local fire department. For dogs?
Wow.
Or for fire engine?
I love every time this guy gives you $2, you just ask him more questions to make some
We've finally figured out how to monetize the show.
Yeah, exactly. Mover just asked, dog rescue?
Just put a question mark at the end of every comment. Just put a question mark at the end of it. Read it
just
as a
email
question.
Mover. He'll ignore it, and then
I'm Ron Burgundy.
You don't have to give your money. What are we talking about next? That's gonna not.
Joe says, I finally figured it out. Wicked olfactory, massive beef, actively toxic. Damn.
Nope.
That's pretty
Not
good.
Even close.
But not as
good. Yeah, didn't we decide Gonky stands for this thing?
Yes, I think we touched on that.
Yeah.
Not really.
No, this next thing. Oh, look, right in time. Star Wars aside, Gonky is a great word, like a name for an undiscovered species in the Amazon. He is.
Yeah.
Species in the Amazon. So this next topic, I think, will probably take us to the end, simply due to the wombat factor.
You know, okay.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yep. It's already starting. Here we go. Get your popcorn.
I didn't ask Gonky to be on tonight. It was the other way around. I have the proof of text, and I will put it on the internet.
And this is what we want, man. This is why
I have been told that I bring a certain flair to the show.
You do.
None of these things are bad. I'm just stating a fact. Much like wombats have square poops, wombats have outer monologues.
Why don't you continue with what I'm going to blab on about for the rest of the show?
This is good, Wombat. This is good, though, actually. I mean,
Congress says military not prepared.
There you go.
If this doesn't get the soapbox going.
Oh, dude, I'm going to get my soapbox out.
So this was published yesterday.
And there's a B1.
And there's a B1 dropping a long-range anti-ship missile from the B1 Lancer. America's odds of fighting a major war are the highest in 80 years, and its military isn't prepared for one. This was the finding of a bipartisan panel tasked by Congress to review U.S. defense strategy, a nearly 100-page report, probably written by that same angry 06. It chides Pentagon. It considers too plotting, a Congress that considers too partisan, and multiple administrations that says have been too complacent to address threats from China, Russia, and countries in the Middle East. The nation was last prepared for such a fight during the Cold War, which ended 35 years ago. It's not prepared today. Every 4 years, Congress gathers a group of outside experts. Dude, you could be on this. Like, how much does it pay? The Gonky Mover think tank?
They probably spent $2 million on a study for this one. They could have just watched our show.
That's what I'm saying. But here, this is our part right here. Public awareness is dismal. America's security threats are blinking red. We're going to help you out with that one. We're going to let them know.
Who wrote this? I'm sorry. What's the...
Look, I'm not scrolling up. I got to finish. The commission's argument is almost as simple as supply and demand. America faces a more dangerous world with competitors that are either more willing to go to war, in the case of Russia, or much closer to being a military peer, in the case of China. But as those threats have emerged, or even emerged, as we've just talked about, instead the country has proceeded largely as usual, or even with more dysfunction. Examples include budgets that are too small, spending bills passed too late, legacy weapons preferred over new ones, and a public either unaware of the challenges America faces or unmotivated to respond. Even more, the defense strategy calls for integrated deterrence, or using more than just military might to prevent conflict. The commission found that the approach isn't clearly defined or coordinated. It's failing to act with the urgency required across administrations without a regard to governing party. The Reagan years were awesome, it contends, because we spent a lot more money. Since the Ukraine war, the U.S. has passed multiple enormous supplemental security bills, $95 billion to fund and support Kyiv, and Israel, and countries in the Indo-Pacific. They don't technically factor into the annual defense budget like garnish. It's not the recipe. A solution. We're not just saying, oh my God, the house is burning, figure it out, said Harmon. We have ideas. So there's a couple pages worth of that. They should change their buying practices, fulfill purchases faster with non-traditional defense companies, which are increasingly building more innovative weapons. Immediately pass a supplemental defense bill so the U.S. can build more equipment, harden military sites threatened by China, particularly munitions, and perhaps most abruptly, Congress should also ditch the budget caps holding back defense spending. Lastly, the U.S. should consider the politically unpopular ways to pay for some of these reform. One would be higher taxes. Another is reforming entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare, whose costs are projected to swell by the end of the decade. The upshot would be force capable of more than protecting its homeland, fighting one major war, preventing another, which is the last two defense strategies proposed. Given the threat of all these people, America's military should be able to fight across multiple theaters at once. Going to dictate a solution. We're not going to dictate a solution. We just want a multi-theater force, because why? We find the situation deteriorated since 2018's report, and they didn't do what we told them to do last time. Noah Robinson. He holds a bachelor in English government from William and Mary in his hometown of Williamsburg, Virginia. Wombat, you have the floor.
Oh, no, I got nothing. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Hold on, I'm letting my camera settle down. It suddenly blurred me up. So gonna go ahead and disagree about we need more taxes and we need to change spending priorities. We have too much money going into too many junk things. We waste so much money on nonsense. We can't seem to develop, fund, and produce weapon systems in a reasonable amount of time. We focus on the wrong things at every single level of government. And we have no strategic vision. As long as those things are true, in my opinion, not the DOD's, of course, but in my opinion, bearded mover, as long as this is the case and we keep fighting each other on what the end goal is, because if you don't have a vision, it's really hard to kind of figure out how to get to that vision. Even if we fixed all the things about, we only have like 2 contractors that can do anything with money, or, you know, we have the largest defense budget in the world and all that stuff. Even if you take all that away, if we can't agree on what the end goal is and what we're trying to do, whether that's we need to be able to fight 2 theaters, we need to be a strategic deterrent, or we need to be able to defend the homeland, that's different. But as we've seen in all these AIB reports, and as we've seen personally, the military is in a poor state right now because of the decisions that have been made for the last 20 years. I yield the floor.
Yeah, 100%, man. So at the end of the day, if you peel the onion back all the way, there's no money. Period. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I think one of the huge ones is all 3 of us took part in the 20-year move sand from one side of the play box to the other, right? The sandbox to the other. I mean, not only did, well, we waste a ton of money doing that. We wore out all of our equipment that we have, right? So, like I said offline with Mover, the military they want, they can't afford. Period. Dot. And there's a whole lot. They had it because we had a lot better leadership back in years past. And then also Mover brought up a good point, and I totally agree. The mission of DOD in general is not to be the most lethal force on Earth. Sorry. That's, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of other stuff going on in the military that really has nothing to do with, you know, creating the most lethal force on Earth, because the United States military exists to kill people. I mean, at the end of the day, that the country deems, you know, that need to be killed, right? So it's a dirty business, and it takes a certain kind of person to do that. It takes a certain kind of leader, takes a certain mentality, takes certain kinds of weapons. And I would argue that that is not the priority anymore. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, you could go, there's a whole, like, I mean, literally at every level, there's fraud, waste, and abuse in leadership. Generally speaking, not generally speaking. I came out a little wrong.
You meant to say genuinely speaking, it's on every level.
In some form. In the sense that, Mover said it best. We spend too much on things we don't need to be spending money on. And in my mind, that's fraud, waste, and abuse, not actual. So, I mean,
roll the banner, Doug. Because I'm retired.
Years ago.
And I don't have to give a damn what I say on this. We spend too much money on crap like worrying that everybody feels safe and worrying about how people view us, when the simple mission of the military is to fly, fight, and win. And that's it. It is an operator mentality. It is ugly. It is dangerous. And you have men and women in this country that are willing to give their lives up for the core values that they were brought up on. And they get effectively neutered by the leadership because they have to worry about all this other crap that has nothing to do with that job whatsoever. And when you promote the turds to the top in large droves, that they know that they have to fall in line or else they won't get promoted more. So they won't get that sweet defense job. So they can go work for one of these inept defense contractors that are gutting our government for all the money that they are spending for a subpar product, which was not how it was years ago. That is the issue. You have fantastic leaders in leadership, but they can't do anything because they're not the majority anymore, because they don't have that operator knife in the teeth, go out there and get the mission done. Because frankly, the people above them don't know what the hell the mission is anymore. We've literally fought everything for everybody on every front, and nobody knows what the hell we're doing. It's ridiculous. It's like getting in a fight with your significant other for so long that you forget what you're fighting about. Like, they took our whole careers for 20 years. We played in a sandbox. We didn't do anything, nothing. And then we gave it away. Like, how pathetic is that? So that is the leadership that we have. Yet there's still, and this is why I love this country, men and women that are willing to sign up on the dotted line and defend it. That blows my freaking mind. And it makes me the most patriotic person in the world. Because you know what? When I signed on the dotted line and when you guys did, it was a better dotted line, frankly, than it is right now. But there are still people that are willing to do it. And that's amazing to me. But eventually, they ain't going to do it. And guess what's going to happen? All these people that sit around and come up with all this stupid crap that you two still have to do regarding your leadership. And let's teach you how to be a leader. And let's make sure you understand that you say this here and this here, because we don't want to offend anybody, because God forbid we hurt some feelings in the military when our job is to make big things into smaller things with a little bit of dust of pink mist in there. That's really our mission, but we've forgotten that. But you got to deal with all the bureaucratic BS and all the little box clickings that you do while you're scrolling Instagram on the side and getting good drill points, because you got to make X's into X's so you're leadership ready. We waste all of that time when you could be out there actually doing the damn mission you signed up for. But nobody's willing to stand up and actually do that. It's gutted. The only problem I have with this congressional report is that it starts off saying that we're 80% closer to a war than we've ever been. That's such a BS statistic. Like, you know, 50% of all statistics are made up. Like, don't put that in there. The rest of the stuff, you're right. And it goes back to what we were saying before about this B1 thing. At some point, people have to step up and go, you know what? When you want these people, they're not going to be there. You have to spend your money on your military, because if you don't, somebody else's military is going to come in. And that is not that far off of an idea. In fact, the only thing that probably keeps some of these other militaries at bay and other countries at bay is there's a lot of really down home, salt of the earth people, and nobody knows how many guns are in this country. And no military in their right mind wants to walk into that and go, we could take them. And then they go, oh, crap. Nope, 100% could not take them. That was our bad. So they don't know. And that's the issue. But what pisses me off the most is you have these people that sit up there in their so-called great high-ranking positions, and nobody has what it takes to stand up to the people, because they're going to risk their career that they've worked so hard for. Because remember, those contractors are out there. And those high-ranking people know things, and they know how to work things, and they know how to pitch things to the military to get that sweet contract deal so the contractor can go make a ton of money. But they're so afraid to lose that golden parachute that they just go, nah, there's nothing I can do. Just go back to doing your cybersecurity, because God forbid we forget what happens when we leave our ID in the computer. I mean, somebody could steal all of our secrets if we do that. Of course, there's laptops out there with all those secrets on them anyway. It's pathetic. And if somebody doesn't fix it soon, it's going to get way bad before it gets worse. It's going to get really, 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 really bad in this country. And I feel bad for this country, because this is not what we are. So,
thank you, Wombat. Just to add on to what you just said, I love this country. You know, I love my service to this country. I love the service that I've been able to do with this community. I think that there are people out there that also are like-minded, like you two, obviously, but I don't think we're a minority in any respect. I think that if you look at the majority of the military, you'll see that that's pretty common. But I think what has gutted the military is two things: careerists and budgets. And the two do not mix, because when the budget was unlimited, the careerists weren't necessarily as big of a factor. And when the money dried up, you started to see the true colors, and you started to peel back the onion, because what does it reveal? It reveals our deficiencies. It reveals our inefficiencies when we can't operate with what we have, and we have an enormous budget. And I've heard stories from people in higher headquarters positions about flying hour programs and how, it's forecasted out multiple years. And then when the year comes, it's changed so much that they're pulling money from, different pots. When, I hate to bring up our own thing, but, it's near and dear to my heart, because I don't know how I recommend kids to do this job with how things have kind of worked out in my own career. But on the flip side, I know that I have to, because there's no other choice. Like, failure is not an option. Like, we cannot be in a situation where we're going to lose. So it's kind of it's tough to me personally. But what I saw, when we were at our previous place, we were lied to. We were
100%.
qualified fighter pilots that had millions of dollars of training and experience, and they didn't know how to deal with a unit closure. They didn't know how to deal with a mission change. And
so they just lied.
They told us one thing, which was the correct answer, and then did something totally different. And when I, as an American, a taxpayer and also a military officer, brought that up, they came after me. And so that's tough to reconcile, because you realize that the careerists have won, in the sense that it's a cancer. The military in general has created a cancerous mentality where the careerists protect each other and they protect themselves, and the mission doesn't matter anymore. What happens to the greater good doesn't matter. It's not service before self. It is, how can I make sure that I get the next promotion, the next star, or whatever. And you see that from mid-management all the way up. And that's why I've been telling people do 10 years and then assess, because, after 10 years, that's when it starts to get wild. But on the flip side, if everybody gets out, nobody can fix it. So I have also seen in the last year very good people that I did not even believe could exist. I did not believe that people at that level and above could make a difference in people's lives, could do the right thing, and could look out for people other than themselves. So it's not hopeless, but I think there's a lot of, like, we're in stage 4. Like, it's spread. The cancer has spread. We've had 20 years. When we had, these Iraq, Afghanistan wars, it didn't really reveal itself because we were sending people down range. We had all this money. It was just do whatever you can, get the people out the door or whatever. Peacetime reveals the weaknesses in your fighting force. And there's more parity right now. There's more conflict because of social media, because of politics or whatever, than at any time I can recall in my entire life. And so what that brings is nobody wants to pull together to win together. Nobody wants to work together. It is always me versus them. And it permeates throughout. So until we realize that we have to have a little bit of nationalism and love our country, we have to have that pride, that patriotism, just in the sense that we want a military that if we have to go to war, we're not all going to die. Because if you can't fight for the person next to you, you've got nothing. Because at the end of the day, they're going to send you to war for what you're going to go to war for. And I think a lot of people don't want even that option. And that's why recruiting numbers are as low as they are. But if we had that strategic vision and we had that, hey, we're all going to go to the same common goal, I think we would see an improvement.
Well, dude, you and I both stood up for what we thought was right, and we both had our careers crushed. There's good people, there's good leaders in the military now, but my observation is they're handcuffed by, like you said, a stage 4 cancerous system that, I mean, it's, if you stand up too much, you become, like Mover and Gonky, right?
I'd like to point out it wasn't just you two.
That's true. Wombat had a bout as well, but that's the sad fact. You try to do the right thing, what you swore in to do, and this sometimes is, in my mind, it's decision. I mean, even, when I was a young lieutenant, I was in charge of maintenance shop, right? So, I mean, I was leadership, right? So, I did the best I could within the, within what the chain of command at the time would allow me to do, which back then was quite a bit. I don't know how it is now, but, as I've gotten older and I've seen higher levels of command and leadership, we do have good leaders out there, but what they're allowed to do is, in my mind, is very restrictive. But it's you hit the nail on the head, Mover. It's like stage 4, like something's got to happen.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately the something that happens presents itself in AIBs. We lose airplanes, we lose people, we lose battles, we lose wars. I mean, that's until that stuff happens and it's the wake up call, like the cold splash of water. That, I mean, and that's a history. That's what happened in World War II. That what rejuvenated the fighting force. What gave us the golden era after. But the problem is, winning bred the military industrial complex, which then created perpetual wars. And perpetual wars created a fighting force that is built to continue fighting perpetual wars, not fly, fight, win, kill people, break their things. It's what can we do to keep the machine going?
Oh yeah, man. We spent 20 years building a giant machine. I mean, who's the next customer, right? That's kind of the, it's sad.
Yeah, I don't know. This views are my own. Don't represent anything.
Yeah, me too.
Not
an angry old man
or anything. Yeah, I'm just get off my lawn. Please don't fire me again.
We'll find out.
It's easier the second time.
It is. Yeah, the second time.
I've got the rebuttal. It's just copy and paste at this point.
Yeah,
it's 2 words.
It really is.
That's all. I just throw the 2 words up there, and that's it. All right. From the audience, Patrick says, answer is simple. Sell Tomcat.
Tomcats.
Hell yeah. It'll take 25 years to develop and cost $300 trillion.
Yep.
Thank you. AMT says P-51 102 days start up on the flight line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is the direction we're going with technology, we might be back to P-51 technology.
Correct.
And so that
with a rifle.
Well, we had the air tractor. The air tractor we're talking
didn't
about.
Didn't make it next week.
Didn't make it, like the 787 on ice.
Correct.
Speaking of 787, Stefan 777 says in Canada, many people don't even know we have a military, let alone that it's underfunded.
Yeah.
So it could be worse.
Yeah.
Rob says, Corvette Rob here. As an Army veteran, I'll tell you right now, the mishandling, botching of Iraq, Afghanistan squandered 2 generations of warfighter. And I was thinking of a kind of a way to put it, and I don't. How do you tell the wife, the mother, the father of a fallen hero with the flag draped on the coffin that it was for nothing?
Right.
How do you tell them that the people that sent them to war or the people supervising them in war thought of them as a cost unit?
No, look, we see eye to eye on a lot of things. You don't have to, because it wasn't for nothing. And you hit the nail on the head before. The overarching thing was garbage, but that individual, that man or woman, did not die for the overarching. They died for
no. I'm not talking about.
I think the people left
wars
behind. Like, I do think the people that have lost loved ones can take solace in the fact that their loved one was there for the person next to him.
I'm not talking about previous. I'm talking with the way to the discussion we just had.
Right.
As the cancer is spreading and we get to a point where we don't know where we're going or what we're doing, and we lose people unnecessarily because we squandered opportunities to have the world's greatest fighting force. How do you tell that mother that we did it because we promoted the guy that checked all the squares and we couldn't develop a weapon system because it was, $3 trillion in 20 years? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking previous.
You do the same thing we've always done in that scenario from a government and from a military, and you lie to them. That's what we've always done.
Exactly. That's that's the point is I, as someone who does not appreciate liars, don't like that.
Yeah. Valid.
They're good at it, though.
Robert also says, Wombat, amen. Also kind of hard to convince people to fight for this country when the back door is wide open on the border. That's a whole different.
All the more reason to fight. It's coming.
Justin says, super sticker.
Thanks, man.
Kate says, instead of another so-called presidential debate, I wish you three gentlemen could go on air and address the nation with these exact words now.
I'll do it. Where's Fox News?
I'll be honest. If anybody watches this of any importance, we're nuked.
We are available.
We are nuked.
Yeah.
No, we're nuked.
We're not nuked. We're not nuked. I disagree.
You are not nuked. But I guarantee you, we, the two at the top of the screen,
I'm sorry.
probably, actually, you know what? Probably not Gonky. Just me. Mover is nuked. If anybody of any substance happens to watch or listen to this podcast, because
dude, it is what it is, man. You just, hey, listen, you just got to go, Mover.
Where are we going?
No, I mean, if you get the call,
where are we going?
Yeah. Fox News.
No, I'm not going on Fox News.
I'd go on Fox News and talk about stuff.
We've been on Fox News, Mover. I mean, we can raise the
you guys have a direct line, don't you? You're essentially correspondents for Fox News.
How'd that work out for us?
Not good.
Dude. Kate says, Mover, stage 4 cancer system and culture, indeed. I hate to tell you, but it's not just the military.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, dude.
Nope.
I've talked about, I've talked about selective competence within the government and the military. And how many times have we seen it's actually, it's mind blowing to me, because you will see an agency or a group botch something that you're like, there's no way they could have ever screwed this up. And they will botch it in the most horrific fashion and then turn around and they will, like the next day, they'll pull off the greatest operation in human history. And it's because of selective competence within the government and their ability to prioritize things that are should be basic. And one day it's like, we can't even do it at all. And then the next day it's like, we just did the greatest thing. We just put a man on the moon again. And you're like, how did you? By the way, we still have 2 astronauts up there.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be there for a day. And how
they were the last people to speak up against the leadership in the air. That's true. So pack your bag, Mover.
put them on a rocket.
How much per diem do you get in space?
Oh my god.
Not enough.
It's probably the basic rate, 30, meals and incidentals included. They're probably not.
Well, yeah, because you have a bed. They're not going to pay for your hotel room.
They're paying your food.
I mean,
you don't get the full rate in space. Robert also says one other thing. They also kicked out thousands of good servicemen and leadership because of the jab illegally too. Not anymore. So, Gonky, did you see the thing where the SEALs and everybody, they said that it's ignored from their promotion records?
Yeah,
my dad cannot use it against them.
My dad sent me something about that, but dude.
Yeah.
But is it?
Correct.
But is it?
Yeah. So
Hold on.
Last time I checked.
But is it?
Last time I checked, we're still all showing is non-compliance.
There's only one way to get something not brought into your
just going to put the banner on our thing.
There's only one way in the military to have something not get looked at on a promotion, and I have 3 of those letters in my record. So, and it is just a blank piece of paper, and I could show it, and it's fantastic because I won. But so just saying that it's not to be looked at until it's in the paperwork, I wouldn't believe it.
Matt says, Wombat and Gonky, what are your perceptions, opinions of USMC Hornet guys with their performance at boat during sorties? We get this asked every show, but go ahead. Any good exchange pilots?
Did you have Hornet guys, Marine guys on your carrier? Dude, I love to have Marines on my carrier. It's awesome. I mean, dude, it was hilarious. I've never seen pilots give less of a damn about landing on an aircraft carrier. The scary parts be damned. They're just like, whatever, we're going to do it. And everything on the Nimitz was labeled, this is not a pull-up bar. Everything.
Yeah. So Wombat summarized it. They're hilarious to have because I think it's not that they don't give a shit. It's they like the Navy's beneath them.
It's just not their priority.
Right.
It's not
exactly.
what they were.
Yeah. So as far as their performance goes, it's hit or miss because some of the guys who go Hornets go shore based for their entire career, and then 15 years into their career, they do a boat tour, and it's super scary.
Yeah.
Then tactically, they do some things the Marine way, which it works, but it's definitely different. But I mean, they're great. I loved having 323 on the boat.
So much fun. That's funny. I had 232. That's weird. We're so in sync. Anyway.
Auburn alum says, do any of you have any experience in sailplanes and gliders? Is it a good path for young pilots to learn before seeking a PPL? 14 is minimum age to certify. I don't, but yes.
Does it count if you had I was going to say, does it count if I was in a single engine jet and the engine shut off? That was kind of a glider.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I say it's a good idea because it teaches you a lot.
Aerodynamics, how to fly.
Sully used it. If we ever ruin that movie.
Oh, okay, here we go.
The glider pilot.
Yeah, that's actually something I would like to try at some point because silently flying, I think would be cool.
I want to do seaplane.
Silently flying. That's called single seat aviation, sir.
Dude, sailplanes, man, gliders, like no noise.
Again,
there might be a lot of noise if you hear me screaming because I can't figure out how to fly a sailplane. Might be very loud.
Peter says, Mover, sounds like you're talking about the secret security. Watch your 6. No, you would think that, but that's literally every government agency. Like I could tell stories of any of these. That's the part of that's just the reality of it.
That's hilarious.
Because
I as soon as you were saying that, I'm like, I know what people are gonna think Mover's talking about.
But it could, like, you take any agency, and then the people are like, you know what'll fix that is more of it. Let's get some more.
Right. If a little bit was terrible.
Yeah, a lot will surely be fine. Let's just get us. Now we've really gone off the rails. Dude, that's the mental health minute. You know what? That's it.
What? No, you got to do something. Come on, the people stay for this.
Gonky says this is what it was.
Mover had a good one. This is a good one, I think.
Yeah. This actually sequences in. Go ahead. I won't. I have something to say.
We'll keep this one short, Wombat, because it's bedtime. And Luna has not told me it's bedtime yet. I don't know what happened to her.
She never showed, man.
She never showed. Now she's
been bedtime since start time, my friend.
Protesting. Yeah, she had a busy day yesterday. I brought this up. I saw a thing and I'm like, it's the golden retriever method. Because in life, in order to succeed, sometimes you have to take chances. You look at any success story of whoever, Wombat, for example, you have to take some chances. You have to put yourself out there. And the difference between the paralysis by analysis intellectual types and the golden retriever Gonky types is the golden retriever Gonky types just believe it's going to work out. And they sometimes throw caution to the wind. They're like, it's just going to work. And that fake it till you make it actually is how you work, because you're taking more chances. You're putting yourself out there more, versus if you're like me, a little bit negative, Debbie Downer, sometimes you don't take that chance because you're like, well, it's never going to work out. Oh, I'm
sorry. It was too easy. It was too easy. Come on, man.
We're like the walking. Never mind. I don't want to.
You're not that much of it. Yeah, keep going, Mover. You're not that much of it. Yeah.
Come on.
You take a lot of chances.
What I'm saying is, it's a good way, and we could all strive to be more like Gonky, who has been less like Gonky lately.
True.
Oh,
Gonky, please tell us how to be more like you. Drive fast, take chances.
Well, thanks. Well, I don't drive as fast as I used to, but the whole
it's a minivan, dude. Of course not.
With a bad battery.
The taking chances part is key. I mean, the safest place you could be is in a maximum security prison, like locked up, right? Never let out, and that would suck. So, life's too short to live too cautiously. I've always believed. I think all three of us, compared to most people, would be considered risk takers. It's just getting out of your comfort zone, and I don't know. If you're not uncomfortable, you're probably not pushing hard enough. And there's nothing wrong with being comfortable in life, but for whatever reason, it's just how I'm wired is, I feel like if I'm not taking chances, I'm not living. So what is it? Mike Tyson said Mike Tyson said,
so they get punched in the mouth.
No, he said a poor plan executed well is better than an excellent plan never executed. Right?
He did not say that.
Wasn't that Mike Tyson?
He's the punch in the mouth guy.
Was he the punch in the mouth guy? Everyone's got a good plan to get punched in the mouth.
There's no way that man said all those things you just said.
Doesn't matter. It's a good quote, right? So, you know,
it is a good quote.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Michael Scott.
Well, there's that too, right? So basically, the long story short is you don't have to have everything figured out. Sometimes just go. That's why I said that earlier. Just go. So that's how I've generally tried to live, and it generally worked out for me. Kind of like you alluded to earlier. Lately, it's been some headwinds. You don't want to be reckless, but you do want to take calculated chance. I consider myself a calculated risk taker in anything that I do. So, but yeah, I don't know. Wombat, what do you think, man?
You know, it's funny. I didn't know we were going to talk about this at all because zero prep, but there's some things going on in the old Wombat household that are potentially some pretty big leaps of faith, if you will. And I was talking to some friends about it, and I shot. Okay. So I shot. We were feuding. It was before this podcast. I shot a buddy a text about it that my wife and I are going to go do something tomorrow, and he's like, "Wow, it's that's a departure. It's definitely different than your lifestyle now." And I wrote back, I go, "Yeah, but if you look back at my life, the biggest leaps of faith that I have taken have yielded the greatest accomplishments." And he wrote back, because he's a good friend, and he's like, "Are you literally typing that onto Instagram right now? Because it's post ready." And I was like, "No, but I should, because I need to put something up there." But it is the truth. When you look back at it, the things that have gotten me to where I am were the biggest leaps of faith of like, dude, I don't know if I can do this. And frankly, what I'm looking up against is just as big. And there's probably more at stake on this than anything else that I've done in my life. And it's real easy to overanalyze it. You know, the paralysis by overanalysis is huge, right? People get that way. And at some point it's like, you just got to send it, man. You know, you got to go with your gut. You got to listen to your gut. If it feels good, you got to send it. And I agree, don't be reckless, but you know, sometimes it's like, dude, you're never going to get anywhere. And I've said this before, like, you don't accomplish anything in your comfort zone. Not a damn thing. And there was a quote I remember, and I don't know who said it. It was not Mike Tyson. I do that for a fact, but I remembered it in flight school because back when, the Facebook started and I still had a MySpace, it was my quote. Yeah, that's how old I'm going back. And it was, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. And I always remember that in flight school. And I loved it. You know, it's the truth, you know, and I think I've gotten away from it too. And maybe it is, middle-aged a little bit. You get that way. You tend to get comfortable, right? With success comes comfort, and with comfort, you get soft and you go, man, like, do I really want to upset what I've built to go take another risk? Because that you're putting stuff on the line. But then in the same regard, it's like, yeah, but those risks are what got me to what I built. So what's the potential down the line? You know, it's, so I do think it's something that I work with every day. I try to do better at, and we'll see, I might be living proof. And another Gonky year of 57 episodes from now, I'll be like, that was the dumbest advice I have ever given. Stay in your comfort zone. I'm broke. I have no money. My family hates me. And that was completely ridiculous. But I doubt that'll be the answer. So, it'll be, we'll see, but paralysis by overanalysis is never the answer. Trust me.
Doug, you gonna clean it up?
I've been thinking really hard about how to phrase this because I almost said I used to hang around with a lot of smart people.
Wait.
Yeah. When I first started hanging around with a lot of smart people, in graduate school and being around a lot of PhDs, I was amazed at how self-limiting a lot of people were. I grew up, working with my hands and fixing things and breaking things and fixing them again, just like any dirt bike rider. And people would be amazed that I would do that kind of stuff. I was like, you people are smart. Some of you might even be smarter than me. And they just didn't want to take the risk. And so when it came time for me to try to teach my kids that approach, I probably stole this quote. And by the way, Gonky, you stole your quote from George Patton. I looked it up.
Idiot.
Tyson,
You idiot.
I think
You
Tyson.
confused Patton and Tyson.
I'm going to
Thank
say
you
they
for looking
would've-
it up, Doug. I actually
gonna
thought
say-
it was Patton, but I was afraid to say it. That's hilarious.
I'm going to say those guys would have gotten along. But anyway,
Patton and
I don't know.
Gonky, or
yeah, Patton and Mike Tyson.
Gonky would be shoveling shit in Louisiana. I guarantee you.
100%.
I stole the quote that you got to get in there and start breaking things. If you want to learn how to fix something, you want to learn how to get something done, you're going to take the risk. And I think that's what stops a lot of people. If it's already broke, you can't break it any worse. Get in there and start fixing it. Take the risk. That's how I learned to rebuild motors. End of story.
Yeah.
I broke a few.
Which will come in handy when you go with Mover to pick up his ZR1 flat plane crank. So there you go.
We're gonna have to take a lot more
Somebody
risks.
lets me
We're
work
gonna
on
have to pay off.
a $200,000 car. I won't break it.
We're gonna have to take some risks and stuff. But I mean, not only the prison, Gonky, but you talk about you can create your own prison, your golden handcuffs. You can create a situation where
Yes.
you might not be able to do a show on Monday because you're tethered by these golden handcuffs.
It is Tuesday, isn't it? That's why
It is Tuesday. Yeah. So
Are we talking about real estate interest rates as well, or is that, is that not everybody's golden handcuffs?
We've strayed from the path, but some people think that you go a certain way and it's a certain path, and if that works out for the majority, then it has to work out for you. And I think the majority of us here have realized that some things are not right for everybody, and that motivates you to find your way out. But you have to be able to take that leap, and you have to be able to take that risk, calculated, right? Don't go fly into a thunderstorm, but I mean,
And if you do, top half, right? That's the good part. I don't remember.
I don't know, man. Okay, well, there's
This
enough.
has been a fun mental health minute. This proves that you can have fun with mental health, and it doesn't have to be serious all the time, and it still gets a message across. It's
Driving
good. It
fast is
doesn't
fun.
always.
I wanted to say, so to speak, on like everything you said, Wombat.
I was hoping you would. That was the whole point.
Phrasing, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Mhm.
The chat's
I'm
wanting to
setting them
know
up,
if you
bro.
need a-
If you don't hit them, I don't know how to get you more clicks. I'm
Well,
trying.
because this is
here.
the serious part of the thing, and Gonky doesn't upload these, so it never gets seen.
It doesn't have to be
When is
serious,
the-
though. That's the problem.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't have to
Let's
be.
go
We're
back
having
to
a
the
good time. People are smiling. They're
Dan
laughing.
says for the beer fund, walk-in rescue equals fire truck. I am completely confused now. My Great Pyrenees lab named Viper is a rescue dog. Great pod once again. Keep up the good. Why do we have a fire truck?
He's letting me off the hook for calling the rescue a fire truck, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's good.
What is a walk-in rescue then?
It's a
Just for
great
people-
name for a dog.
It's a big
Walk-in
fire
rescue is a great name
truck.
for a
It's a
dog.
No,
big
Viper.
fire truck.
Is it a fire truck?
Yeah, it's a
This
big
is
fire truck.
amazing.
Dan's gonna
You
be broke
guys.
by the end of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I want my cut out of this one.
Sorry, man.
Colton says, does flying fighters, Hornets and Vipers, give you a type rating on your record like an A320 737? I know there's limitations and you can't just hop on a fighter, but do you get an official type rating for it? You can. If there's a civilian equivalent, you can.
Yeah, that's the only way you get a type rating, right? Because that's what a type rating
Well,
is.
it's not a
Not
type.
known.
Well, it'd be like a experimental, whatever they put on the back that, like
no.
T-30. We can go get a T-38, and fly a civilian T-38.
Mhm.
Go to the FISDO and here you go. But I guess that would only be
Why would
applicable
you?
if Top Aces ever called me back.
Or if we just went out and bought our own.
There you go.
We're gonna have to take a lot
Leap-
more risk.
leap.
Gonky.
Correct.
Faith.
The wind
Leap
is
of
going to have
faith.
to change and go.
Mike
Yeah.
Tyson's gonna have to give us some money. Estimate.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Straighten up, son.
yeah. Don't call what you don't. Who are you calling?
You.
Me. That's your call.
You are
Mike
the
Tyson,
youngest.
Adam, like, you're gonna get your ass beat. The Mental Health Minute has done incredible things for a lot of folks. Don't quit. Go to the Reef on Me. But the folks need help, and you're helping a lot of them. Thanks.
Thank you.
Speaking of greatest leaders
Yep.
we've ever known.
Yep. Hands down. Yeah.
We're going to the Reef this weekend, Gonky.
Apparently.
Wombat shot a you're buying. Greg says Wombat shot a buddy, confirmed. Yeah, he shot me right in the heart when he didn't text me and call me not his friend.
I'll just wait for you to call
And now
me
he's
when you're on a
not even going to say
road
no.
trip.
He's just
It's the feud mover.
It's the feud.
feud is
Keep it
real.
going.
There are rules to the feud. These are the rules of engagement. Okay. It's not the Wild West out here, man.
Robert says, thank you for another A+ podcast, guys. God bless.
Thanks,
Thanks, Robert. And you can get Gonky his Z06 at any time. George Patton, the other Mike Tyson.
That's so awesome. Dude.
Oh,
You're
that's
never going
bad.
to live that down.
Ghetto
Don't
Stream
worry,
Live
the internet's only forever. So.
Top half of the thunderstorm is the good half. Mike Tyson.
I'm gonna use
that's
that. I'm gonna use that
hilarious.
with one of the captains one day.
Every
Do
quote
it.
has to be Mike
Just be-
Tyson
Just
now.
be careful because he might actually try to
I
fly through
believe
it.
me.
Then you're going to be like, oh boy,
Just kidding, man.
just kidding. Go around it.
There were so many good Mike Tyson
As
quotes
the,
in the
as the
chat. I
poet
tried to
Mike
pick the
Tyson
best
once
ones.
said.
Oh, dude.
AA Ron says, we call it a squad.
Oh man,
What do we call a
Gonky,
squad?
You're awesome, dude. You're awesome. Golly,
I
you're
don't
awesome.
know.
Another long username,
Thank you.
super sticker. And that's it. That's all I got. That's the end. We've reached the end
We've
of the
reached
show.
the end of the 1
Probably
year
forever.
episode 57.
Based
The
on the
great Mike
fact that,
Tyson has been known
made
to
it to
say,
the-
"This is the end, boys.
yeah, as Mike Tyson once said, it's over.
It's over."
It ain't over to the fat lady sings, I
You
believe.
guys are fired. You made it to one Gonky year, and now
Jeez, dude. See,
awesome.
there'd be no look, dude. It's part of the golden retriever lifestyle. You can't be afraid to push
you
it
are a
with your
blonde,
facts.
dude. You're a blonde valley girl.
Yeah. No, wait a minute. I take
Dude.
offense. Mine is clearly not.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Well, that was a fun show. That I'm pretty
Off the
sure.
rails. Oh, hey, by the way, Skid, I know you're still in the chat. Next time you're with us, once we hit the end button, stay.
Correct. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, you're missing the debriefs, kid.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, that is kind of a A10 standard, right? You skip on the debrief because why would you?
See you later. Yeah, of course. They're still RTBing, dude.
Skid standard. Oh my gosh. Oh, look, here's one more. There's 57 weeks in a year, Mike Tyson.
Oh no, dude.
Oh, this is awesome.
Dude, Skid
This
copies
is
call.
awesome.
At some point, I think that needs to be on a shirt.
Yeah,
No, dude, because I will meet Tyson one day and
That'd be
make him
awesome.
still punch.
You're gonna meet Mike
That'd be
Tyson?
Never know.
you never know.
You just never
Gonky's
know.
out there
You never
flying
know.
people places.
Dude, maybe he comes to a coloring book signing and,
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
wearing the shirt too.
Oh,
And
Colin wants to talk
Wow.
about the CF18 demo. It's the only reason he's here.
dude, that was on the list. We just didn't make it. It was awesome.
Is it
I love the
fast?
paint- I love the
No,
paint
we'll
job.
talk about it another time. We'll talk about it another time. I'm sorry, Colin. We'll talk about it another time. 2 Canadian, that's like 45 cents. We'll talk about it another time.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Come
That was
on,
a joke.
man. They
That was-
don't
that
even
was-
know they have a military up there, some guy said. Give them some love, all right?
It was Mike Tyson that
Sheesh.
said that. Stefan said, cheers, guys. I get more, but inflation, so to speak.
Oh, man. How many times is Mike Tyson going to get tagged on Instagram with this show? And if
Well,
the
there's
answer is
only
not
like-
all of them, you're failures. as
There's only like
fans.
40
That's
people
all.
watching, so it can't be that many.
Well,
We've decreased in viewership ever since. I'm watching the viewership go up because every time people think that it's about to end, then they come back and then they we
like,
reel them
they're
back
still
in.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still here. What's
It's
going
like
on?
the
They're
old.
still
Remember the
talking.
old Spaceballs movie at the end of the credits? It's like if you had, if
Yeah.
you'd left, you'd be home by now. This is where we're at right now.
Or it's like the end of Ferris Bueller, right? He's like,
this is probably the best part, though. The beginning part and the end part of the podcast.
After credits.
There's no more. Just go home.
Just go home.
I think, you know what? I think Luna's mad from last week.
Yeah,
What happened
because she was there most of the show and we didn't feature her because Mace was talking and nobody would acknowledge her. And I couldn't interrupt Mace or you. So I think
you can't interrupt me?
No, Gonky. I'm looking at Gonky. You weren't here last week.
Oh, I got confused.
I can't interrupt you, but you would stop and say, "Oh, puppy dog."
I would.
These two get serious and keep talking about the show. They don't recognize Luna's cuteness and greatness.
Of course,
yeah. It'll be interesting if Mace and I ever get on the show together. That's going to be an interesting.
You have said you don't want to be here with 4 people. I would gladly have you on.
She's cool.
She's cool. I'd
join
the show.
She made a. Did you see the thing I sent you, Gonky?
With the expectation and reality of driving the motorcycle. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
Good on her for that.
Doing
that was
Top Gun.
Yeah, that was hilarious. She has a pretty good sense of humor, I could tell. But
she's funny.
Yeah, good for her.
All right, we covered that one. Yeah, we covered that one. All right, I have nothing left.
Wow. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Hear all the Mike Tyson quotes.
I can't wait to
I've
buy
got
that
more
t-shirt.
next week, so just
I can't wait.
Next week
every quote you spit now for the rest of this show is going to be from Tyson. Dude, Gonky's going to be in The Hangover 4. Like, this is going to send his career through the roof.
I'm just going to Google
This is the greatest jet ever, Mike Tyson.
This is the fastest I've ever been.
Oh man, this is awesome.
Was it Mike Tyson that said 4 fans of freedom? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I think we've been desperately looking for something to replace the poor internet jokes, and I think we just found it.
100%. 57 weeks in a year.
I've got more.
Mike Tyson.
I've got more.
Yeah.
Gonky leap year.
This is awesome. Golly. This is great. This is why Gonky never gets in trouble, by the way, is because people feel bad for him. They're like,
dude,
he's obviously got an issue. Just let him be himself. This is awesome.
Mike Tyson. Grab a throttle. We're going around. I'm not doing that. I'm beat up.
I'm sorry. That was bait.
Oh man.
For sure, I'm getting punched if I ever meet him, dude.
Again,
sure.
I want
to rage quit on us. He's like, I'm out. See you guys.
I just want to, out of the goodness of my heart, for the competition, again bring up that Joe Rogan really needs to worry.
Arm the seat, Tyson. You're the last player.
Oh, that's awesome.
Talk to me, Mike Tyson.
You could do a whole parody just on this. I mean, 100%. 100%.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Well, next week,
good night, everybody.
Yeah. Good night. Thank you for showing up.
Those are tears of